It's a beautiful night in St. Louis, a near-perfect setting for the final oval race of this IndyCar season, final night race of this campaign, and a return to a favorite venue. After 14 years, IndyCar is back in St. Louis, and the community has been eagerly anticipating this night. Just this past Thursday, thousands of fans turned out to Ballpark Village at Busch Stadium to kick off the weekend with the Cardinals. And tonight they've come across the Mississippi to Gateway Motorsports Park to see how a tight championship points race will unfold with 3 to go. Helio Castroneves won that last race in 2003, and a return win will keep him at or near the front of the fight for his first career title. Scott Dixon led 78 laps on that day in 2003, but did not finish. The four-time champ is second in points this year, but looking to turn around some recent luck to tighten the race. They all chase American Joseph Newgarden, who took the points lead 2 races ago and is closing in on his first title. Defending champion Simon Pagenaud is still in the mix, quietly waiting for a late-season move to make his mark. But perhaps the driver to watch is the one 5th in points, 41 back. Will Power, the winner of 2 oval races this season, including last week, and on the pole tonight. Welcome to IndyCar Live, presented by Verizon. We're going to set the stage for this 310-mile, 500-kilometer race tonight, and we couldn't ask for a better night. In the Midwest in August, temperatures in the late 70s. By the time we're done, they'll be the low 70s. There's no threat of rain, and we are in store for a true night race tonight. And look where we're at. We're at the head of the grid. I'm Kevin Lee. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And right next to me, we have the trophy that everyone is chasing. 3 races to go to decide who is going to be presented with the Astor Cup. This trophy dates to 1915. Carl G. Fisher was one of the original owners of this trophy, and it has the winner of every IndyCar championship since 1909. Who is going to get it this year? We're soon going to find out. There are just 3 races remaining. This is the last oval tonight. So after tonight's race on this 1.25 mile oval, 2 road course events. Next Sunday at Watkins Glen, and then on September 17th, Sonoma Raceway, and that's a double points race, and that will decide the championship. And it is still very much in play with at least 5 drivers. Will Power just 41 back after his win last week in a pole tonight, and the top 4 are separated by only 26. And at Pocono last week, they were spread all throughout the field, but the championship contenders are all starting in the top 7 here tonight, with Power leading them to the field. Well, we've been treated to great oval races so far this season, and Pocono last week was no exception. In fact, it produced the most passes for the lead that we've ever seen at that track. We're into the final 4 of the 2017 Verizon IndyCar Series Championship. 7 are still in the chase for the title. 500 miles from the tricky triangle. Here we go from Pocono. It's green. They're 5 wide already. Big development off sequence. Powers down the pit lane.
Not what you normally see out of Penske. They put him a lap down.
And a big crash. It's Hinchcliffe and it's J.R. Hildebrand. Team Penske is going to take the opportunity.
I like that strategy.
I think we're okay now. We're back in the game. Let's be smart. Let's start picking them off.
2 Penske's very anxious, Newgarden and Will Power trying to get back into the mix at the front of the field.
Making really good ground right now. Really good ground. All right, bud, you're the leader.
And there's been a major turn of events. Will Power, he's just taken his pit stop. He's come back out in front. Joe New has been on a charge. Not this time, but Newgarden is right there.
I thought Power had a problem, but he was just anticipating a run from Newgarden. That was a pretty crafty piece of driving.
Here comes Newgarden again. Power stays down low to defend. Back on the main straightaway. Will Power is going to go back-to-back to win at Pocono and get back in the championship mix.
Oh, man. Yes! Yes! Good strategy, guys. Good strategy.
You can never give up in IndyCar because you don't know what can happen.
And remember when Will Power came to IndyCar, he wasn't all that fond of ovals, but the results this year would suggest otherwise. Will Power is good on any kind of track. Already 2 wins this year. Indianapolis, the only one that did not go well, but he was taken out in a crash and finished 23rd. He is the leader in oval points if you count those up. And Jan Bikas, he's also going to lead the field to the green tonight.
Yes, Kevin, and of course after qualifying he told us that he's got himself in a groove now on ovals and feels very comfortable. Will, this is a unique setup here, 500K. How big of a challenge on this kind of unique layout?
It's going to be interesting, I mean, because we don't know how it races really. We got to practice last night. I saw in the Indy Lights race the second lane opened up, but it's going to take it as it comes, understand the first stint, see how the tires degrade, how it is to get through traffic, and then start on strategy.
All right. Championship-wise, Joseph Newgarden is who you're chasing, your teammate. But out on the racetrack, he seems to always be there. How are you going to shake this guy?
Yeah, he's been very strong. None of those guys in the top 5 make any mistakes, so it really is coming down to finishing ahead of him week in, week out, and obviously the other guys as well. So it's going to be a real tight battle to the end, but I'm going to do my best.
All right, and he's been doing his best. Of course, we mentioned Joseph Newgarden and Will Power. This year, they had some awesome wheel-to-wheel battles. It's been fun to watch.
These guys have really streaked away from the rest of the field. He got a nice run here.
Oh, Newgarden! A battle for the lead. Joseph Newgarden is going to get around his teammate.
Wow.
And now he's gone.
Taken off. He just totally shake and baked him.
Just over 10 laps remaining in this 500-mile race. Here comes Newgarden again.
Oh!
Not this time, but Newgarden is right there. What a race.
That was some slick Willie P stuff right there.
Man.
Joseph, I bite my nails every time you and Will Power end up next to each other. You're again today starting side by side. How do you get rid of him?
You don't. I mean, he's Will Power. He's never going to go away. You know, all our Penske cars are so quick, and we work so well together that it's difficult to get away from those guys. You know, you're going to be racing them all the way down to the wire in this championship. So we've got to make sure to take care of each other. You know, I think Roger and the entire group, they give us the ability to go out there and race each other, and they're okay with it. So we got to make sure we're taking care of each other on track and bringing home a Team Penske victory. So I hope it's us tonight. The two-car feels really good with PPG. We got a huge crowd, so I'm excited about it. But like I said, we just got to get through turn 1 clean and take care of each other all night.
But it's the entire field chasing you in the points battle for the first time in your career. How do you approach this home stretch of races?
Well, I think the same as always. You know, it's a good thing being in the lead. I'd rather be in the lead than chasing, but you can't get comfortable. You know, it's pretty easy to lose the lead. If we have a bad night tonight, we'll slip back and we won't be the leader anymore. So I'd rather be in the lead than chasing, but for us, it's about always approaching it the same way, getting the most out of what we can each and every weekend. So we're focused on Gateway right now. I think we've got a potential to win this race, maybe have a podium. We got to make sure we capitalize on that and not drift too far back.
Kevin, you can really feel the energy from these fans today. Joseph says he's ready to put on a show.
Great energy here tonight. Great crowd in St. Louis for the return of IndyCar. And Katie, Joseph Newgarden and Will Power were certainly a really good story at Pocono last week. Maybe also as good was the recovery and comeback of Ryan Hunter-Reay. He went from the hospital bed almost to victory lane in less than 24 hours. It's crunch time at qualifying at Pocono Raceway.
Whoa!
And now Ryan Hunter-Reay goes around.
Okay, Ryan. Oh, my hip.
They're taking their time to get him out of the car.
Let's give a shout out to Captain America. Spent half the night in the hospital getting x-rays, MRIs. He's going to try to do it.
Any changes needed to adapt to the car?
Just getting the trust back, you know, getting through turn 3 again, seeing those tracks go into the wall there. It'll take, I think, another 15 probably to get fully settled in.
Ready, green, green.
Here comes Ryan Hunter-Reay. Looking up the inside of 3, he said it'd take 15 laps to get his confidence back. Try 1.5.
What an effort by Ryan Hunter-Reay for the second year in a row. Has charged from the back to the front.
That's checkered. P8.
Very impressed with Ryan Hunter-Reay. Thought he might have a chance to win from the hospital bed.
He toughed it out, raced today, 21st to 8th.
The fact that I could race today is unreal.
Yeah, and Ryan Hunter-Reay, such an impressive comeback there at Pocono. How you did 500 miles, I have absolutely no idea. Are you still feeling the pain from that to some extent?
Yeah, certainly sore, and you know, it's a bit tight, especially when I get out of the race car. But when I'm in the car, it's you know, the adrenaline starts going. Didn't feel it at all. That was a long 500 miles, though, I'll tell you that. I remember I thought we were getting there towards the end, and the halfway flag came out. I was like, are you kidding me? This is a long race, but we certainly had a good run to the front. We led some laps. In the end, we just didn't have enough drag off the car to really challenge them at the front. But it was a good time, fun, and glad to be here in St. Louis. Hopefully we can move up. I mean, this is we're a little challenged here with the package, the drag that we have on it. But, you know, we're going to be giving 110%, hopefully get this 28 DHL Honda back up front.
Take me back to Iowa Speedway. You started 15th, you raced all the way up to 3rd, and today you're starting 14th. What can you do from here?
You know, it's a good question. Obviously, Iowa is a really bumpy racetrack, grip limited. I mean, you're always sliding around, moving around here. This is a fresh repave, very little tire degradation, so it's going to be challenging. It's going to be hard to pass. Everybody has a lot of grip. You know, obviously, it's a downforce thing where you put yourself in traffic, but in Iowa, a really good handling race car could move to the front. Here, it won't be as straightforward, so we're going to have to get a little creative.
Well, Kevin, I certainly think everyone's going to be cheering on Ryan Hunter-Reay tonight.
No doubt. He's got a lot of fans. Captain America, as we say. There are a lot of fans here tonight. The Bommarito Automotive Group and also the track, Gateway Motorsports Park, did a great job letting fans know that IndyCar is coming back. And look who else is back. This was a surprise to learn this week. Sebastian Bourdais. We didn't expect that until at least the season finale. We will visit with the four-time champ coming up in just a few minutes. You're watching IndyCar Live, brought to you by Verizon. Go inside IndyCar all season. Download IndyCar Mobile from Verizon. IndyCar is back in St. Louis, and they're not just preparing for a race weekend. It's St. Louis Speed Festival. Ed Carpenter was at the Cardinals game on Tuesday night throughout the first pitch. It's a great baseball town, by the way, and all kinds of activities all throughout the week with the Cardinals and other activities, too. Many drivers were there on Thursday night in Ballpark Village. They've had a 5K, a bike race on the road course, karting, a golf tournament, and much more as well. And look at the fans that have come out to see IndyCar back at Gateway, just across the Mississippi River in Madison, Illinois, here tonight. We've got a great location for pre-race tonight. We're on the grid where teams and drivers are preparing, and they're hoping to set themselves up to take this trophy home, or at least get their name on it at the end of the season. This is the Astor Cup, and the team position best, at least as far as tonight is concerned, is Team Penske. They will start 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's another oval race, and they have been awfully strong all year on the ovals.
Phoenix is the first of 6 diverse ovals on the season.
Oh, and we have a yellow. The pits are closed.
Timing scoring showing Simon Pagenaud a lap up on the field.
8 career wins coming into this race. None of those have ever been on an oval. Simon Pagenaud is going to win at Phoenix.
Will Power protecting the bottom.
Sato coming to the bottom side of
Oh!
and they turn. Dixon goes around. Under caution. Will Power will take the checkered flag. His second at Texas Motor Speedway. And Elio back to the front, looking to win for the first time in over 3 years. Checkered flag, win number 30 and snaps a more than 3-year drought. And Castroneves squarely is in the championship hunt. So Will Power back to the front, but look at Joseph Newgarden charging. Does he have a run for Will Power? Power comes down low to the fifth. Back on the main straightaway. Will Power is going to go back-to-back to win at Pocono and get back in the championship mix.
And of course, number 1 was the victory by Simon Pagenaud at Phoenix. And Simon, people say this racetrack here is as close as you can get to Phoenix. I assume that gives you confidence going in?
Yes, yeah, we had a really strong car in Phoenix, won the race. It was my first oval win, so obviously, you know, it's quite sweet. We have a really strong Menards car tonight. I feel just as confident, even more than I was in Phoenix. So, you know, we're starting 4th, which is a little difficult because I'm fighting my teammates. We have the same cars. Little difference here and there in setups and downforce, but not much. So it's going to be interesting to see how the pit sequence work and how you can make the difference. But we're going to have to be aggressive tonight.
All right, talking about being aggressive, you're 26 points back. Is this where you have to turn it loose?
I think so. I mean, there's 3 races left. It's time to really get some wins, and you know, the most important, frankly, is to be ahead of my teammates, and then we score more points than them, and that's really the mentality when you go into a championship hunt. But winning would make a big difference.
All right, Kevin. He's going for his 2nd win of the season.
And he's going for his 2nd straight championship. And Simon Pagenaud is the only driver that's finished every race this season. He finds himself 4th, very much within range. Top 5 still there. Don't count out Graham Rahal, and Alexander Rossi has been on a nice chart. They're going to need a lot of help to get there. But keep in mind, this is what is on offer for each round. 50 points plus 4 bonus points for each race. And then the championship at Sonoma, 100 points on offer for the winner. It is a double points event. Well, the season started in IndyCar with a win for Sebastian Bourdais, and he still led the championship after 3 rounds. He had tough luck the next couple of weeks, but nothing compared to what he went through in qualifying at Indianapolis. This massive, nearly head-on collision when he was on a flyer on the first day of qualifying, broke his hip, broke his pelvis. He knew it immediately. 118 G's was the hit. He's been rehabbing for more than 3 months. We didn't think we'd see him until at best the season finale at Sonoma, but Katie Hargett, Sebastian Bourdais is here, and he's going to race again tonight.
And Kevin, he's been to a few races as a spectator, but said this is the first time you're back as a driver. Is this the best medicine you've had yet?
Really, the best one was the test at Mid-Ohio, where it felt like, you know, I was back in my game and I knew what I was doing, and the car was responding, and I felt good, and that was the best medicine for sure, and definitely gave me a good cheer for the rest of the recovery.
What has the toughest part of these last 3 months been?
You know, just a lot of stages. Obviously, initially just dealing with the crash, then, you know, the bust up was actually pretty good, and everything was fairly simple and easy from there, but just being patient, you know, just not trying to rush it. And then when I got the green light to go weight bearing and walking and all that, then I could hit the gym again, and that was a very, very good thing.
You mentioned your rehab physically, but how do you rehab mentally?
I don't really have to. I mean, I've had other crashes before. I mean, not ones where I got hurt, but you know, I know the risks and I don't minimize them. But you know, I guess I got hurt, but I made it, so it could have been a lot worse.
It has been a tough return for Sebastian, though, Kevin. He's starting 19th today.
Welcome back, Seabass, tonight in the final 3 races to get his 2018 season started. And look at this facility. IndyCar has been looking forward to this for the past year or so, coming back for the first time since 2003. Curtis Francois purchased this facility in 2011. They've been making consistent upgrades to the facility, and even a month or so ago repaved to make it more helpful for Indy cars, and we are looking forward to a good one tonight. And the Bommarito Automotive Group has also done a lot to make this event successful. And this track, by the way, is the only track that hosts an IndyCar race, a NASCAR event with the Camping World Truck Series, and also an NHRA race. And look inside the facility. See there, the barriers? There's a kart track inside, and I know Anders Krohn is always happy to visit a kart track.
Yes, indeed, Kevin. And watch out, Verizon IndyCar Series, because I got the next generation lined up right next to me here. See, Gateway Motorsports Park have their own junior driver development, and on my right here is Race and Jaden. And guys, who's your favorite Verizon IndyCar Series driver?
Scott Dixon.
Now, are we going to see either of you guys in the Verizon IndyCar Series anytime soon?
Yes.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Now, Nolan, over to you. You're 12 years old. You're a little bit older than these guys, 6 and 10. So, Nolan, what do you think? Are you going to use this experience to help you out on the racetrack sometime soon?
Maybe go to sports car racing, or maybe even here at IndyCar.
Well, we really hope to see that happen. But before that, guys, Kevin, I'm going to go for a race, and look at the cart that's behind me. The one I'm going to be in, number 3, because I'm feeling good about my boy, Helio Castroneves, tonight.
I'm going to want to see that cart go through tech after you get done. We're looking forward to that. That's coming up in a few minutes. You know, Helio Castroneves, the driver of the number 3, started in karting. He's still in championship play. He won the last short oval at Iowa, and the last time here 14 years ago. We'll talk from Helio coming up next in St. Louis. This fall, anywhere in the world, when Americans are at risk, one team brings them home. The Brave coming this fall to NBC. Beautiful night in the St. Louis area for the Bommarito Automotive Group 500. Night racing on an oval at IndyCar, and we're getting very close to getting things going. All right, we checked in with Anders Krohn back at the kart track just a few moments ago. He's got some current kart champions. Anders is a former kart champion. This is not a race. This is more of a demonstration. A few laps with the kids. Go ahead, Anders.
Up in the second spot. Who's behind me? Oh, no. Tell you, though, Nolan's quick. Oh, missed the apex there a little bit. Let's see, what can I do here? Let's see if I can get him up the inside. No. Oh, look at that. A little bit too sideways. Ah, see, they're getting me down here. This is cheating. They're too light. Oh, my God, look at that. I got one coming, Jaden, coming up my inside. Oh, my God, I'm getting destroyed by a 10-year-old. Let's see. Oh, can I do it around the outside? No. Let's set him up for the high-low here. Oh, oh. Jaden giving me the squeeze here. She's aggressive. Watch out, Danica Patrick. Oh, here we go. Lining up for the inside move. Sideways. Book it in this second. Woo! Oh, Jaden's lurking, though. What's going to happen? Nolan is just out in front. The guy is a machine. Let's see what we can do here. Over the rumble strips. Oh, this is rough. Let's see what we can do here. I'm drafting. I got the draft. Let's see. Oh, we're 3 wide. Up the inside. Let's see. Whoa! Big slide into the lead. Woo! Guys, this is not easy. Oh, I retired from race car driving for a reason.
All right, Anders, we're going to need you, though, at some point, but you did make it from the back to the front. I've let Anders in my kid's cart before. We'll see if we give him that opportunity again. Well, there is a look from the Illinois side of the Mississippi over to the Missouri side. And the last time IndyCar was here in 2003, 3 active drivers in this race were in that race, including Scott Dixon, who led 78 laps, where he had a gearbox problem and had to retire. So then it was the boyhood friends fighting it out to the finish. And Elio Castroneves climbing the fence early in his career. Tony Kanaan finished second, and all 3 of those drivers in that race led laps, and they're in this race. Also, Ed Carpenter ran in Indy Lights here back in the day as well. Well, I got a fantastic vantage point here on pit lane, and right behind me, I could almost go and do a physical handoff. It's time for the grid run, and let's go back and find our friend Robin Miller.
All right, Kevin, let's start with a guy that won the last race here, still in the championship. Where did he go? Where did he go? Where's Elio? Where is he? Where is Elio? This was going to be the easiest grid run of all time. There he is. Hey, brother.
Good. Yeah.
Live television.
All right, live television.
You won the last race here. You were the quickest guy in testing. Are you going to kick their butt tonight?
When I won, my hairline was about here. You know, it was a long time ago. So
and
I hope.
And you weren't coloring your hair.
No. It was natural.
It was natural.
Exactly.
Can you win this thing?
I definitely can win this thing. Of course, we have a Shell V Power. Shell Fuel Reward, perfect, great setup. And you know what, my teammates, we're all going to battle each other, but we've got to be smart to make sure to collect a lot of points.
I don't think you're going to play nice today. I think you're going to bang into somebody. Good luck. All right, we found him. This was going to be the easiest pit run of all time. I saw Ed Carpenter. Eduardo! Hello, son.
What's up, Art?
All right, it's Team Penske against you in the world. You got anything for them?
I mean, it's a long race. You know, I think we've been about as quick as them. They did a better job in qualifying, but felt like I could run with them last night. So it's gonna be a fast-paced race, not a ton of drop-off in the tires. So track position, pit stops is all gonna be key. Just having good execution, but I think the boys are up to it.
All right, good luck, brother. No, we haven't talked to Dixon yet. He always hides from us. There he is. He's not hiding now. Dixon!
What are you talking about? Something.
We go to Road America, and everybody says, well, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 Penske. They're kicking everybody's butt. Nobody's got a chance, and you won. What about tonight? Can you do it again?
Well, I don't know. I have to see what Simmons gave me here. But, you know, we'll do the best we can. You know, here I think is definitely a drag-dependent track. You know, you're constantly almost at velocity, you know, peak velocity the whole time. And we'll be racing pretty much with arm tied behind our back. So we'll see what we can salvage out of here. But anything can happen, you know. So strategy or something changes up, we can definitely have a good run.
Merle Bentonhausen won a lot of races with one arm.
There you go. So it's possible.
How about this crowd?
It's awesome, man. It's good to be back here. Here's the pole sitter from 1996.
Simmons, that's right. You were the Indy Lights pole sitter, then demoted to engineer. Sorry.
Last time it was repaved.
Yes, the last time. All right, have a good race, fellas. All right. Sorry. Who we got here? Oh. Nope, that's not. Carlos. All right, I saw AJ Foyt smile for the first time in a couple months, and I saw you smile for the first time in a couple months. You got this thing going good?
Yeah, qualifying was pretty good. Free practice 2 wasn't so good. We made some changes in the car. It didn't work, so we went back to basics more or less. Hopefully work, you know. We have the Chevy kids, so we have to be profit on that. That is better for sure here. So hopefully it's a good race, and we have a smile on AJ.
All right, brother. You know, he's so happy, he gave up ice cream for 2 days. All right, look behind us, kids. Look at this crowd. Kevin, this is what racing's all about. Oval track racing in the heartland, and I got news for you. These people know how to promote a race. Back to you, Mr. Kevin Lee.
All right, thank you, Robin. And we're going to be able to follow Scott Dixon all night long with our Verizon streaming cam. Go inside IndyCar all season. Download IndyCar Mobile from Verizon. You're watching IndyCar Live, brought to you by Verizon. Go inside IndyCar all season. Download IndyCar Mobile from Verizon. Paul Tracy and Townsend Bell are coming up, and I'll be hustling up to the top of the grandstand. Stay with us. We're ready to go racing from St. Louis.
Gateway's going to be really interesting. A paperclip shaped small oval.
I think it's going to be our best short oval race of the year. I love short ovals. It's probably my favorite form of racing right now in IndyCar. So adding a new place like Gateway is a very exciting thing to me.
One corner is very short radius. The other one is actually really wide, fast.
Kind of like Phoenix. Two completely different types of corners, and you're going to have to choose where you want the car to work best because it's not going to work on both.
1 and 2 is that whole track. 3 and 4 is extremely easy there, so it's almost like a straightaway on the data.
There's going to be a lot of drafting, and there's going to be a lot of passing. So if I'm a fan, Gateway Motorsports Park is one I'm going to circle on the schedule.
7 former winners at Gateway Motorsports Park, starting with the man, Paul Tracy, the thrill from West Hill, then Alex Zanardi pulls off the second win at this track, and then Michael Andretti in 1999 in that beautiful all-black Newman Haas car. Then Juan Pablo Montoya, Y2K. And then Al Unser Jr., one of his final IndyCar wins in 2001. And then Gilles de Ferran wins race number 6. And then another fence climb for Helio Castro Neves. Welcome back to St. Louis and Gateway Motorsports Park for the Bommarito Automotive 500. Look at the scene here. It is jam-packed. And joining us, still breathing, Kevin Lee, who ran all the way up the grandstands in impressive fashion.
Where's the elevator? That's the only thing that's not been done. But no, this facility is great, and we're ready to be back for IndyCar racing. If I'm a little moist, that's why. I'm looking forward to some great racing tonight. My name is Kevin Lee. This is Paul Tracy. He's won here, and so is Townsend Bell in Indy Lights. All right, I want to go back, PT, to Road America. Penske qualified 1, 2, 3, 4 in that race. We all thought it was going to be a beatdown. Scott Dixon won. The same feeling exists tonight. Can anyone else win?
Well, this guy right here said there's no chance at Elkhart for anybody even to touch Penske, and he's saying the same thing tonight. But I'm telling you what, you can never count out Scott Dixon anywhere. We know he's got some issues with the drag and things like that on the car, but this guy can deliver. But he's got to deliver tonight because the 9ths and 10ths he's been getting in the last 3 races are not going to cut it if he's going to stay close in this championship in the last 2 races.
Listen, Scott Dixon has no chance. Nobody has a chance in this race tonight except the money team. Team Penske is going to dominate. Their pace has been incredible all race, but I think what's really interesting is what's going to happen between Newgarden and Will Powers. You see Joseph Newgarden strapping up and getting ready to go because at Mid-Ohio earlier this year, Newgarden came up with a very creative move to take the win, and then he was paid back by Will Power at Pocono with a very creative move. So I think it's really going to come down to when does the creativity go away for the Penske drivers and they start to go gloves off, hand-to-hand combat.
Well, whether it's all Penske or not, we think the racing is going to be pretty entertaining. A little bit longer straightaway than Phoenix, so we're in store for some good stuff here tonight, and it's almost time. Thanks for watching IndyCar Live, presented by Verizon. Drivers are strapped in. Will Power set to lead the field to the green, and we'll get it started coming up on NBCSN. Oval racing is the heart of IndyCar. The 2017 season includes stops at 6 venues, all with a personality of their own. At Phoenix in late April, the 2016 season champion Simon Pagenaud's first oval win moved him to the early points lead. Indianapolis hosted the 101st running of the 500-mile race, where Takuma Sato overcame his heartbreak last lap pass attempt of 2012 to win over Helio Castro Neves. Things then heated up in Texas as summer began with a spectacular crash, while Will Power took the checkered under the lights. At the smallest oval on the stop, Iowa saw the return of Castro Neves climbing the fence after his first win in 54 races. Last week in Pocono, Power gave a repeat performance of 2016 by holding off Joseph Newgarden for the win. Tonight in St. Louis, the IndyCars return for the first time in 14 years to Gateway Motorsports Park. Time to see who will take the last oval of the season and maybe some control of the championship. Oh, you can feel the energy tonight in St. Louis. It's time for the Bommarito Automotive Group 500 from Gateway Motorsports Park. It has had a vibe all weekend. Fans, true IndyCar fans are here and just about ready to go. And it's time to head back downstairs for the most important of the opening ceremonies.
Gateway race fans, are you ready? It's time for those most famous words in all of sports. Please welcome President of Bommarito Automotive Group, Mr. John Bommarito, to give the command.
On behalf of the Bommarito Automotive Group and the over 2,000 team members and family members here today, gentlemen, start your engines.
The Hondas and the Chevys are fired. We are standing by to go racing from St. Louis. We're going to see the grid roll by on the screen to find out where your favorite driver is going to start, and we're also going to catch you up on some of the many stories going on as we get set to go tonight. Down to pit road, we start with Jan Beekes.
And what a great setup for the front row. Joseph Newgarden, the championship point leader. He's just about ready to burn out here. And alongside Will Power, the hottest driver right now in IndyCar competition. They battled last week for 500 miles. Tonight, they battle for 500K. These teams behind me know at 500K, these cars are going to be here at least 4 times. The track will change. Adjustments here could be key, Katie.
Jan, just 3 months ago, Sebastian Bourdais was laying in a hospital bed wondering when he would even walk again. Since then, he's hiked Yellowstone, he's mountain biked and logged countless miles inside the pool, but nothing compares to the workout he's about to get strapped into that 18 car today. It's been a long road ahead, gaining his confidence back this weekend, but he's got more than 300 miles to work on it today. Anders?
Yeah, and Katie, I think one of the biggest storylines tonight could potentially be J.R. Hildebrand. Remember, he finished on the podium both at Phoenix and Iowa, 2 tracks that are very, very similar to here at Gateway. Also, though, look at the very, very back of pit lane there. Elio Castroneves and Ryan Hunter-Reay all the way back here of pit lane because of their qualifying crashes at Pocono. That could have big implications here, as the exit of pit lane is quite tough, and out of those pit boxes, not an easy job here, Robin.
3 years ago, Curtis Francois, who owns Gateway, went to IndyCar and said, I want to race. I want to race. He almost stalked IndyCar. They finally talked to him. They're really kind of worried about going back. It hadn't really worked at Loudon. It hadn't really worked at Pocono. Why are we going to give you a race? Because I'm going to promote it, and I want it here. Well, he showed his commitment when he repaved the track a few weeks ago, and right now, this is one of the best crowds we've seen in an oval in a decade. Other than Indy 500, and there's some electricity in the air, and there's a lot of IndyCar fans with t-shirts and hats. This is IndyCar territory right now, and you can't say enough for John Bommarito, the sponsor. If you didn't have a guy like that, you would probably have this crowd, because he's done a great job of promoting it. This should be the template for how IndyCar runs an oval track race. Kevin?
Certainly great energy here tonight, and it looks like this event is going to work. And also, we were happy to see that Pocono seemed like it had an increased crowd last week as well, and that one has some momentum moving tonight as we see the crowd and we see the cars headed down the back stretch, and we're going to see them form in rows of 3 just for a parade lap. A salute to the fans, and also a salute to the heart of oval racing, the Indianapolis 500.
3 wide salute to the Indy 500. They're still lined up, Townsend, like that outside the gate trying to get in. There's still a traffic jam on the highway getting in here.
As Robin Miller said, the place is filled, and it's filled with passionate IndyCar fans. So many people stopping me and Paul in the paddock, walking up in the grandstands, and there's a lot of IndyCar love in the house tonight, and it's really cool to see them honor the Indy 500 tradition here with the slow 3-wide format. There was a lot of confusion, frankly, in the drivers' meeting about exactly how that was going to work out. Remember, they'll start in 10, 11 rows of 2, so it looks like they did a pretty good job to figure it out. They are professionals, after all.
We were a little skeptical, though, because it wasn't just simply in the order. They're not lined up like they would be at Indianapolis. They had a different format going on.
The crowd loves it. They're going crazy out there. I can hear them in the booth here. They're all on their feet, waving, cheering. They love it.
This is great. In the Heartland, oval racing for IndyCar, the last oval race of the year, and so many still in play for the championship. Saluting the fans.
And of course, they're circulating this perfectly smooth new pavement. This place used to be bumpy. Paul, when you and I raced here, there was a huge bump in turn 3. It really was dicey. They repaved this place just for the IndyCar drivers. All the drivers say there's not a ripple on the surface.
Yeah, first year it was bumpy, it was slippery, it was dust all over the track, and it was a handful, but these guys are going to be hooked up tonight and flying. If it's any indication, the lights race was an absolute barn burner of a race, 2 abreast racing. So, man, I hope these guys in the IndyCars can run like that.
Well, they now start to form in rows of 2. We're going to have quite a few good looks on board, including Sebastian Saavedra. He's in the number 7 car. Jack Harvey will be in this car for the final 2 races of the season. He has the Arrow on board. Tony Kanaan has one of those helmet cams tonight with the NTT data on board. He is starting 17th. We're going to want to watch him at the beginning of this race. Graham Rahal with the traditional on board from 5th third bank. Still in 6th in championship. Different look for Graham. He's got a blue and dark blue car starting 13th. James Hinchcliffe also has a helmet cam with the Lucas Oil on board, starting in the middle of the field, 10th in this race. And a view from the front row, Joseph Newgarden, the championship leader with the Verizon on board, will start on the outside of his teammate, Will Power. And Scott Dixon has our Verizon streaming camera starting from the 7th position. Go inside IndyCar all season. Download IndyCar Mobile from Verizon. Paul, you won the very first race here for IndyCar in 1997. That was a thriller. What could we see tonight?
Well, I think you're going to see the same thing. I think these first 4 Penske guys are going to be racing each other hard. But a guy like Ed Carpenter, Scott Dixon, the Wild Thing, these guys could sneak up on these Penske guys, Townsend.
Look at this. Since the last IndyCar race at Gateway in 2003, 219 different IndyCar races with 40 different race winners, 11 different 500 winners, and of course 1 solar eclipse. You know, I think the chance for Ganassi in a Honda-powered program with a Honda Aero kit, which everybody knows is a bit of disadvantage tonight, they have to jump the starts and restarts if they have any chance of mixing it up.
We've typically seen real fast starts by the Penske guys. You see Will Power. You see the pace right now is pretty quick. So these guys typically want to string it out and get the racing going.
Power in the silver. And we've got a yellow in the back in turn number 2, and that's Tony Kanaan, who's not only gone around, he's got damage on the parade lap.
I think he collected Marco Andretti, perhaps. I thought I saw another blue and yellow car. Maybe it's just Kanaan. Looks like it might be just Kanaan.
Everybody was warming their tires up, spinning the tires. And we'll see here. See, they're coming around real quick because the pace lap was quick, and he lost it on cold tires.
That's Max Chilton coming by, Charlie Kimball. Oh, there's Marco Andretti. So he just got by all right. And that is a disaster, not only for Kanaan, but for Scott Dixon, because he needs Tony Kanaan to mix it up with the field as we ride on board. That's a big hit. That's a game ender.
So, well, I don't know if it's a game ender, if it's just the back wing, but he's definitely going to go laps down. But like I said, the pace was coming around that corner pretty quick on the pace lap, and he was hustling to catch up. And it looked like he got some tires maybe on the curb or the white line and lost it.
Let's listen in real time.
It's on that white line.
Ooh. How about the gearbox casing? If the attenuator is the only thing damaged, they might be able to put a new rear pod and get it back out.
It's off the ground. Might be suspension damage as well.
So the race is officially underway. These laps on the first one are being scored, but we'll go green officially coming up in just a moment. Well, could this be the beginning of a very strange night? Massive amount of fans gathered here for IndyCar tonight. You're watching NBCSN's coverage, brought to you by Steak and Shake, home of the original steak burger, proud sponsor of the number 15 at Graham Rahal, and by Bommarito Automotive Group. Shop bommarito.com, where price sells cars. Well, as you saw, on nonstop. Tony Kanaan does have a new rear wing assembly, but he is 3 laps down after losing control on what was becoming the pace lap. So these laps are counting, but we'll really get it going when we get started here in about a lap. 1 to go at the line.
Well, it looks like they're going to go 2 abreast, maybe. I don't know if they'll do a standard start or single file. We haven't got wind from race control on that.
We never actually started the race, right? So, I don't know. That's a good point. I guess they're counting laps.
Saavedra has come in the pits and topped off, so he's already looking at strategy. So that's a pretty smart little move. So they are going to go 2 abreast. This is great.
And they're on the backstretch. Power in the silver car, Newgarden in the blue and white car, second row, Elio, white and black car, and Pagano in the yellow Menards car. Ed Carpenter is the next best in class. That's another Chevy, and then the best Honda, Takuma Sato, starting 6th. We are down to 3 to go in the 2017 Verizon IndyCar Series Championship, with many still in play. Time to get it going for the last oval of the season, and here we go from Gateway.
Guys right down on the wall. Dixon was trying to slide down the wall. Newgarden goes for the lead. No, Will Power.
Power goes around, one of the championship contenders, and then up on his lid over the top is Ed Carpenter. Takuma Sato has also crashed. A major pile-up as we restart in the opening moments at Gateway.
So the surface was slick for Tony Kanaan. It's slick for the rest of these guys. Will Power with a really massive mistake on the first lap. Don't know if there was contact or if he just lost it. But I
thought he was all by himself.
I would think so. He was ahead as they came to turn 1. Looks like he's talking to the Homatro safety crew, which is a good sign anytime one car climbs right over on top of another.
And we had a clean day yesterday. We saw all kinds of crashes in practice and qualifying at Pocono, so that wasn't that surprising, but no problems yesterday.
Here's the thing, as we see Takuma Sato come to pit lane for repairs, when you come to a new racetrack, guys, the one thing you don't practice is being in 2nd or 3rd gear and getting after it on the throttle out on the racetrack. You never do that. You never have a chance.
It's big speed by Newgarden around the outside, and it was almost like a NASCAR type situation where he just sucked the air around on Will, because Will just went loose. We see go green, and Dixon's right against the wall, tight against the wall. He backs out, smart move, but here goes Newgarden around the outside, and it was like he just lost it all on his own. Cold tires.
That was a big move from Newgarden, and boy, Will Power is lucky the way Ed Carpenter backed up gearbox first on board with Newgarden. And watch this. How about this setting a championship tone? Big move around the outside. There goes Power straight around. I think he just picked up some turbulent air and chaos behind.
Yeah, Newgarden came down, took the line away from Will, cut the air off the front of the car. Not anything wrong with that move. He was completely clear of him, and it just pulled the back end of Will Power's car around.
And then Sato and Carpenter in reaction also get turned. Turnaround.
I'll tell you what, Helio Castroneves was almost into that. He barely missed that.
What is it about that section of track? That's exactly the same place that Tony Kanaan lost it on the warm-up lap.
Well, there's been no different type of rubber that, other support series other than Indy Lights, which we typically run with all the time as the support race. So track is clean, track is fresh. It's quite a bit cooler than it was in the afternoon when they qualified.
Not that much different than the first corner of Phoenix earlier this year, where there was 2 or 3 cars taken out, Mikhail Aloshin and Sebastian Bourdais, in a similar style accident.
So after Pocono last week, it appeared like Will Power might have had the momentum. He was climbing in the championship, but he's out before it barely gets started tonight. Watch every IndyCar and NBC race online, on tablet, and connected TV devices with the NBC Sports app. Download the app or find out more at NBCSports.com. You can be portable and keep up not only with IndyCar, NASCAR, Formula One, and so much more. Well, we have, raced about 2 corners, and we've already had 2 cautions here at Gateway Motorsports Park. Down to pit lane or the paddock area with Jan Bikas.
Yes, and of course, one of those involved was Takuma Sato, and we have heard from radio communications a lot of drivers talking about very difficult to get heat into the tires, and we saw that certainly in your case. Of course, you had cars spinning ahead, but was that an issue at the start?
That's everybody had an issue for the warm up the tires. That's nature of the, obviously drop the temperature as well as fast, and had to brought the harder tire for the the new surface, which is all fine. But then the wheel starts struggling, and then he had a wiggle, spun it, and I had to lift to avoid it. The moment I could go through it, but unfortunately on the behind there was an old checkup, and I think Ed had a problem and hitting me, and I had nowhere to go.
Now you're not out of the race, even though we're talking, because they have moved the car behind the wall to do more work. Is it repairable?
That's the plan. We see how much damage we got, but then if we can fix it, the better to go back and learning something for the new venue as well as we need to correct some points.
All right, waiting for his car to potentially be fixed, but wow, tire temperatures obviously played a big part tonight, guys.
Major developments here in the early going. Sato was one of those that had an outside chance at the championship. And there's Alexander Rossi. Let's go back moments ago and listen to his radio communication. He has some thoughts about what's going on.
It's pretty slick out there right now. Yeah, copy that. We're just watching Will basically just spun by himself there, so between TK and Will, I'd say it is pretty low grip out there right now. I was third gear on the bottom at the moment, so. Yeah, it looks like, if anything, you might want to be at least a full tire width off of the bottom.
So they practice at this same time last night. Sometimes that's not always the case, where the practices are in the afternoon, but there was a 9 p.m. local practice last night.
Yeah, let's take a look at Scott Dixon and see what happened from his viewpoint. On board here, going to the front straightaway, waiting for the green. There he is. He's going to have a look up the inside of Ed Carpenter. Not a lot of sunlight there, but then let's see how Ed and Sato lose it. Watching up front. There goes power. And I think Ed just sort of reacted and lost it down low and then got up into Sato.
Well, he was loose, Townsend, all the way through the corner, chasing it on the white line, but he just picked off 3 spots, and this cat's now up to 5th, and you said he had no chance, brother.
There's
all right.
plenty of time.
Robin Miller is with Ed Carpenter.
Edward, we're glad you're all right. What do you think caused all that besides Will spinning?
I don't know. I mean, it was slick. Even warming up the tires, it was slick. I think probably just a combination of the rubber from the series down before us. We really hadn't run much after lights. We'd run after them a little bit, but they just ran a lot. So even warming up tires, it was hard. But it's no excuse. I'm just bummed out, man. Like this year, just did not go well. I don't know what to say. 2018 can't get here fast enough. Thankful that Fuzzies is behind us so much, and will give us an opportunity to come back and be better next year. But man, it's disheartening right now.
Thanks, kid.
For Ed Carpenter, this is his last race of 2017, so an even longer wait for him, probably until Phoenix. The schedule is not confirmed, but that's going to be his first chance in 2018. So second caution, and we're seeing Tony Kanaan rolling down the pit road. He'll take the chance to top off. We'll get going again in a moment.
Will, Ed Carpenter told us it was so slippery. Was it different rubber? What do you think happened?
It was just slippery. It was super slippery. I wish I'd done a few more burnouts to get some temp in the rear. But I mean, the front was very slippery too going in, and Joseph took my air on the exit, and then I spun.
So Newgarden going around you upset you a little bit?
Yeah, I just tried to get back to power. I got some dirty air, I think, and man, it just went unfortunate.
Glad you're all right.
Thank you, Robin. Significant development for Will Power. It came in within 41 points. As it stands now, he would be 84 back because the championship leader is in front. Joseph Newgarden, single file restart. This time leads Helio Castroneves, Simon Pagenaud, so Penske still 1, 2, 3. And look at AJ Foyt's Carlos Munoz there in the ABC Supply car in 4th. Scott Dixon is 5th. Then it's the Aero car of James Hinchcliffe. Ryan Hunter-Reay in the DHL car is 7th. Back to green flag racing at Gateway Motorsports Park. And look at the run for Castroneves, trying to go around the outside. Can't get Newgarden in turn 1.
No guarantee that anybody has more tire temperature now, Paul, after all those yellow laps, but luckily they make it through 1 and 2. That was critical for the field to not lose it on the restart.
Yes, 3 wide going into turn 3. Rossi slides down the inside of Hinchcliffe, but Helio Castroneves was aggressive on that restart, had a nice little start. He was forced to the outside by Newgarden, but Newgarden now has taken control, leads by half a second.
It did surprise me a little bit to see Castroneves fairly aggressive considering what has happened. He settles in now, and look at Newgarden start to scoot away just a little bit. Penske still 1, 2, 3. Tony Kanaan getting around Marco Andretti, but Tony Kanaan is 3 laps down. Keep in mind, though, he was 2 laps down mid-race at Texas and came back to finish second.
Marco Andretti actually went high on Tony Kanaan in 1 and 2, and then Kanaan came back, but Kanaan knows, hey, I'm several laps down here, 3 laps down, and I need to make something happen. If I'm going to help my teammate Scott Dixon in the championship, I need to figure out some miracle to get back on the lead lap.
We're finally underway. We're 21 laps in, but this is a 300-mile race, folks, so there's a lot of racing to go and a lot of pit stops. So by no means Newgarden leading here. Whoa, big move by Connor Daly coming down the inside. I think that's Bourdais. So
it's actually Ed Jones, I believe, in the 19 car for Dale Coyne Racing. The rookie who's had such a great season. And Connor Daly, for this young American driver, this race is a big breath of fresh air in terms of pace. They're in the hunt. They're competitive. Qualified in the top 10 or just outside the top 10. Daly did an 11th. And his teammate Carlos Munoz is up in 5th. So this is a big break for the ABC team. And with the Chevy kit, they've got a real shot tonight.
Got a shot at his best finish of the year as we look at his teammate leading Ryan Hunter-Reay. He's up 6 spots, or up 8 spots already, so he's marching forward in that Andretti car.
That's our Bommarito Automotive Group biggest mover since the start of the race. Once again, Ryan Hunter-Reay charging forward. Good start for Charlie Kimball. And how about Sebastian Bourdais in his first race in 3 months, picking up 5 spots right off the start. Down to pit road and Anders Krone.
And guys, I'm just smiling watching Ryan Hunter-Reay here. He always makes this happen. Remember, at Iowa and Phoenix, he always makes that high line work on the opening laps, and he's a master of cold tires. I think we're going to see Ryan Hunter-Reay here march to the front, especially after pit stops. Katie?
Sebastian Bourdais shook off the nerves of getting back in the car at his test in Mid-Ohio, so he was fairly calm going into the green flag here at Gateway. But I asked him, do you have any lingering aches or pains from your crash at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway? He said, you know, really the only thing that hurts is the left side of my neck. Townsend, why is that?
Well, it's sore because of the G-force. All left-hand corners, of course, you're pulling 3.5, 4 Gs in the corner on high downforce. So the left side of your neck, there's really no way to work that out. There's all kinds of machines that people have tried to come up with, Paul, through the years to work your neck. Nothing does it like a short oval, and it's got to be very fatiguing.
Tell you what, look at that front wing on Pagano's car flapping up and down. We were talking about that in Pocono. Look at that front wing. If we get a zoom in on that, that sucker's really moving. He's stalking the back of his teammate as these 3 Penske cars are kind of stretching out on Hunter-Reay, who got around Munoz.
But Scott Dixon is somewhat keeping chase. That's him in the blue and white car in 4th. Then you have to go all the way back there to that yellow and red DHL car for Hunter-Reay in 5th. Carlos Munoz is 6th. There's Alexander Rossi in the red, white, and blue car for Andretti. He is running in 7th position. James Hinchcliffe is back there in 8th. Graham Rahal in a blue and black car this weekend with Fifth Third Bank sponsorship popping down to the inside as we go on board. He's running in 9th.
Rahal's a guy that we know all night will keep digging and digging and digging and digging. So look for him to keep moving forward here. He's a guy that never gives up till the checkered flag comes out.
Interesting to watch the Firestone telemetry there in the upper right-hand corner. Graham Rahal staying in 6th gear. I would have expected maybe some downshifts. There he goes, down to 5th, down to 4th for the slower turn 1. It looks like a lot of guys right now, Paul, are just riding around on these slick conditions with dirty air coming off the car in front of you. I think they're kind of happy in this first stint to just try to figure out what they have, both in their car and what does the track give you tonight.
Riding around at 187, 88, 89, 90 miles an hour, 92. So I don't know if I'm just riding, but they are flying around here.
Well, as they're flying around, they are about 16 seconds, the leaders are, ahead of the last place car of Sebastian Saavedra. In about another 8 laps, these 3 Penske leaders should start to come up on lap traffic, and that'll be interesting to see what happens. If Newgarden's able to just blow on by, or if it takes him a while, kind of like what we've seen in Milwaukee in years past.
Joseph Newgarden, by the way, is leading his 10th race of the season, tied with Will Power for the most for these last few weeks. Now, he was good to start this season, but he has looked like he is in championship form here recently.
And we had a chance to sit down with team owner Roger Penske earlier today and just get his thoughts on Newgarden, as Connor Daly working Graham Rahal pretty well there. He's going to make a move going to 1, not close enough. But, Paul, I thought it was really revealing how impressed Roger Penske. He hired Joseph Newgarden, but now Newgarden has just gone over and above and impressed the heck out of his team owner.
Well, it's like I said to him. I said, is there anybody that's come into your team that you can remember that has integrated himself so quickly and gotten into the program that is so good, fast, brave, sponsor's dream, great with the fans, gets all the sponsors in, and he said, this guy's amazing. We sent him to New York, and everybody loves him.
Well, we talked about it earlier today at lunch. If you look at Joseph Newgarden, I can't find one single thing to criticize, to say to Joseph Newgarden, hey, this is something you need to work on. He's perfect across the board. He's fast.
Or off the track.
He's presentable. He works well with all the mechanics. He lives there in Charlotte. He's at the shop every day. He's enthusiastic. I mean, there's no hole in the game right now.
Well, let's face it, the real reason we wanted to sit down and visit with the captain is we were trying to get Paul a ride in the Acura sports car program. Yeah?
He told me I got to lose a little weight.
The captain seemed to want none of that. He enjoys ribbing you. That much I did observe. There was a bit of a stinger there about the Indy 500, and Rod, I think he said, well, we both won it, but I've got the trophy.
Yeah, don't bring that up anymore. I'm not in a good mood now.
Looking back to Connor Daly, that's been a pretty good battle for 9th position. Daly, very racy. He's been looking forward to getting back to this track after a couple of good tests. That was on board with Graham Rahal.
Now, with that long yellow period that we had, you may be wondering, how is that going to affect the pit strategy? It's still going to be a 4-stop race, but now you can go much farther into the race before you have to stop. We thought originally maybe lap 52 is as far as you can go. Now it looks like 62, because when you ride around in that yellow fuel map behind the pace car, you can gain yourself a lot of mileage. So they'll have a lot of time. Townsend, you were saying, and Paul, they're trying to find out what they have right now. They have plenty of time now to figure that out before the first stop.
I think it's a great point, Jan, and it really helps Honda. The Honda teams were concerned about being able to do 50 laps where they thought the Chevys could go about 52, 53 laps. Now with that long set of first yellows, that puts Honda much deeper into the first pit stop, which makes the subsequent stops much shorter. It helps them out big time.
Connor Daly all over the back of Graham Rahal, searching left and right for a way by. He's running closer to the back of Rahal than I see anybody running on anybody, so he's looking for a way by.
Now here's a thought I have. Here, once we've gotten going, we haven't seen many changes for position. I would imagine there's some trepidation after seeing the first few laps. What are the chances that as the track rubbers in and people learn things throughout the race, it's a much different race in the second half?
Well, I think it's a good point, Kevin. They're getting confidence back. Not a lot of confidence on the first corner of the first lap, and Connor Daly has a lot of it right now.
We'll keep an eye on Connor Daly trying to get a spot further up in the top 10, running in the 9th position, and there is the leader, the championship leader. The young American from Tennessee, Joseph Newgarden, is in front here in St. Louis. 45 of 248 completes just outside St. Louis for the Bommarito Automotive Group 500 on NBCSN. Night racing, just 3 to go in the championship. There is the leader in the championship, and he is taking names tonight. Joseph Newgarden up by over a second on Helio Castroneves. Simon Pagenaud back there in the yellow Menards car is running in 3rd. Scott Dixon, Ryan Hunter-Ray. And then in 6th, you're going to find A.J. Foyt's driver. One of his 2 drivers, Carlos Munoz, is going to lose a position to Alexander Rossi. So Rossi goes inside to get to 6th spot. But still, a strong night so far for A.J. Foyt's team, Robin.
A.J., it's nice to see you back, but it's even nicer to see your cars being competitive.
Well, it's been good to be back, you know. It's just one of them things. The older you get, the more you're gonna miss.
What do you credit to these guys turning today or this weekend around? Did you scare them into running better?
Yeah, I think so. Everything's looking pretty good. Still a long way to go.
How's your house and your farm and your ranch in Houston? How's that going, and how's your wife? Is everything okay in Houston?
Well, everything's going good there. I'm just worried about the weather's moved in pretty strong over the ranch and all that, so just got to keep my fingers crossed.
All right, glad to see you back here.
Always good to see Super Tex at the racetrack, and also happy to see he was able to get here from Texas, and our thoughts are with the people in Texas and Louisiana. Massive rain and a lot more of that they're dealing with from Hurricane Harvey. Both of AJ's cars are in the top 10.
Yeah, and Carlos Munoz and Connor Daly finally feeling like gunfighters again. And I asked them both, what do you attribute to you guys having such a good performance this weekend? They said, well, we've been here to test twice now, and they feel like they're still on the back foot trying to catch up with that Chevy Aero kit. They're finally getting the hang of it, guys.
I'll tell you what, Connor Daly looks pretty anxious to get by Graham Rahal. He's been bobbing and weaving and looking inside and outside.
Jason, we're only about 3 laps away from a stop.
Remember, Marco Andretti up there, who's going to go a lap down. Already is a lap down to leaders.
Remember, it was a year ago that Graham Rahal was complaining about Connor Daly, saying Connor lived rent-free in his house. Now it's Daly trying to get by Rahal. What sort of comeback is he going to have on that as we see Joseph Newgarden get all over the back of Saavedra?
They're going to be pitting here pretty soon. Looks like the window's open, so these guys are trying to hang on to the lead lap as they come to the pit stops. Newgarden's got a little run here. He pops out and slides right by Saavedra.
So Marco will be next. He's still on the lead lap for the moment, so caution would save him right now. Marco almost was collected in that opening turn when we went green. When Will Power went around, he had to hit the brakes to avoid that contact. I wondered if he picked up any debris or anything, but he has stayed on the lead lap. Here's Elio going to the inside of Saavedra.
Oh. He's lucky that Saavedra gave it up and gave it to him, because it looked like they were going to touch there.
And now that gives Simon Pagenaud an opportunity to close in on Castroneves. That's for second place.
But that allows Newgarden to open up a much bigger gap up front, and I can tell the way things are shaping up as we come close to our pit stops, the in and out laps are going to be critical for track. It's all about track position.
But look who's creeping into the picture back there. That blue and white car, the number 9 of Scott Dixon, as we see Carlos come in the pits.
Yeah, and it's going to be a big question here. How quickly can you get these tires up to temp? Exactly to your point, Townsend. It's going to be super slippery here leaving pit lane. He's also going to add some front wing.
Pitting from 7th, Carlos Munoz.
Pit lane has not been repaved, so that's the original older pavement. You can see the shade is quite a bit lighter than what's on the racetrack. So Joseph Newgarden should be coming to pit lane here in the next few laps. And I talked with Simon Pagenaud just before the race, and he said, oh, in and out laps are so important and so difficult here at Gateway. And I said, who's the best on the team? He said, I am.
I like that.
Now, I said, who's the best in the field? And he said, actually, James Hinchcliffe is the best on in and out as Connor Daly comes to follow his teammate on pit road.
I think this is a really smart decision here for Connor Daly. He just got a little backed up there from Graham Rahal, so they're going to add a little bit of front wing here as well and be looking for a good stop here with AJ Foyt Racing.
We talked to some strategists, and several said, I want to come in early. I don't want to come in with a big pack of cars, even if it's under green, because this is a very narrow pit road. There's Ryan Hunter-Reay in, Anders.
He is indeed, and he's also reporting some understeer. He's going to get 4 brand new tires and also some additional front wing. Little bit of an issue on the right rear there, but he's on his way.
Looks like the fueler got stuck, Paul, pulling out.
Yeah, good in lap, good out lap here, getting out of the pits and up to speed. It didn't really hurt Dixon pitting early at Pocono. Might not hurt you here. Little lock up for Hinchcliffe. Hinchcliffe coming in.
And he initially struggled in practice earlier this weekend, but they did something in qualifying, and all of a sudden, Hinch was extremely happy with the car. And we're going to head back upstairs to Kevin.
Right in front of him, we see Ed Jones coming in. A point to make, unlike the big oval like Pocono, this is one where after you've pitted, you do not want it to go yellow. If it goes yellow, you are severely disadvantaged, and those that stayed out are advantaged. So that's one reason why you stay out as long as you can. Alexander Rossi is going to pit from 6th place now, and he's going to head into the view of Jan.
And we'll watch the front of the car because he has called on the radio expecting a half turn of front wing. We're hearing a lot of people on the radio saying they want more front wing. Hey, interesting, they've gone with sticker tires. I would have thought that they would have gone with scrubs. Katie?
And you see Elio Castroneves making his stop and a front wing adjustment for him, but his teammate Joseph Newgarden is getting ready to make his stop. The entire field is chasing him in the Verizon IndyCar Series points. As you see Scott Dixon make his stop there, putting on 4 fresh new tires for him. He said the car is feeling a little bit light, and he is also down and away. We're still waiting for Joseph Newgarden to make his stop. As we see him pull into his box right there, the entire field is chasing him in points. They're also chasing him on track right now, as you see a quarter turn front wing. Jan?
Waiting for the arrival of Simon Pagenaud. He also is called for some front wing. And I'm looking here, he's another one that's going for sticker tires, which I think will be a little harder warm-up than scrubs. And there's the front wing, Simon Pagenaud. That's 8 seconds even.
All right, let's watch the blend-in now. It looks like the leader on the track that's already pitted is Elio Castroneves. He's coming down the main straightaway as Charlie Kimball releases, and Joseph Newgarden easily beats him out. So through this cycle of green flag stops, Newgarden maintains the lead, and I think he may even stretched it more.
Well, we had a pretty good mix, Townsend, of guys doing stickers or scuffs. I saw Helio Castroneves put on scuffs. All of his teammates put on stickers, but here's Tony Kanaan trying to get some laps back. He was topping up for fuel. So right now, he is only 3 laps down still.
I'm surprised that Kanaan made it so easy there on Joseph Newgarden, with Scott Dixon trailing back about 5 seconds from Newgarden. That was pretty clean for Newgarden to get by. So have to see how that develops a little later as we get closer to the finish of this race.
Well, Sebastian Bourdais is your leader right now on his return race. He's yet to pit.
We know he's off. He hasn't pitted yet, so it's not real, but it's still noteworthy.
Well,
let's go back and watch Newgarden's pit stop.
Got that hose. He almost got over that hose right there. You could see the hose on the outside front tire there. He's under the wing, and he barely got on top of that. Lucky break there.
Might have cost him a few tenths of a second, but he still got out.
But we did see that out of, what was it, Hinchcliffe at Pocono? Somebody had pit equipment there at Pocono, and
it was
did
only
the
a
same
post-race
thing.
fine.
And it was a post-race fine, so that is pit equipment. The hose does count. So the question is, does that go under review as Bourdais finally comes to pit lane?
So he gives up the lead, coming down at 50 miles per hour. Max Chilton has yet to pit, so for the moment, he is out in front. Katie?
And this is Sebastian Bourdais' very first pit stop since his major crash at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He's dealing with a little bit of understeer wiggle in front, so they're going to adjust that with a front wing adjustment.
I should mention Max Chilton did come in and top off during one of the yellows,
so
that's why he's still out there. So that's how, it's not that these guys are making that much better fuel mileage than everyone else. Chilton makes his stop, takes a front wing adjustment. So through the cycle of green flag stops, it's Joseph Newgarden still in front, but Elio Castroneves is not that far behind.
Not far at all.
There's Castroneves.
They've kind of stretched it out on Pagenaud through that pit sequence. They've got about a 2.5 second lead.
And your guy Scott Dixon is lurking in fourth there, 4 seconds back. We'll see if anyone has anything for the Penske's. They have been the class of the field all weekend long. 1, 2, 3, 4 in qualifying. One of those, the pole sitter, Will Power, is already out. He crashed in the opening turn, and his teammate Joseph Newgarden is now in front at Gateway. You're watching NBCSN's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Bommarito Automotive Group. Shop Bommarito.com, where price sells cars. And by TireRack.com. Find, deliver, install smarter Tire Rack. The world-famous Gateway Arch that opened up in the mid-60s, celebrating America's expansion to the west. And look at the crowd that's come out here tonight in the St. Louis area for the return to IndyCar. This is fun, and it's been a fun weekend. Perfect weather, nighttime racing. Now let's see if anybody has anything for Joseph Newgarden. It's still Penske, 1, 2, 3. You saw it on nonstop. It took them a little while to dispatch of Max Chilton put him a lap down, so that bunched him up a little bit. Thought maybe Castanedas was going to have a chance, but now Newgarden is back up by a second.
7 seconds up the field. It's another Ganassi driver, Charlie Kimball. So 3 Ganassi drivers in no position to help Scott Dixon tonight.
All right, let's find out what is happening throughout the field now and get you caught up on others other than Joseph Newgarden. But that's where we'll start. Bommarito takes us through the field.
And Kevin, the entire field has been chasing Joseph Newgarden, not only in the points, but here at Gateway Motorsports Park. When I talked to him just before the race started, he was extremely calm, but he looked up and he saw the entire crowd. He said, I'm ready to put on a show today. I can feel the energy. Anders?
Yeah, but Katie, I think Elio Castroneves is going to have something. He actually sat out the final 5 minutes of night practice last night because he was that happy with the car. And keep in mind, in 2003, when he won this race, he used lap traffic to make his way to the front. Jan?
Now, speaking of last night, Simon Pagenaud said, hey, don't read too much into the times. I really like my car at night. And he said that the downforce level is going to be key. They added front wing at the first stop, but I don't think it's quite where he wants it at the moment.
Jan, Scott Dixon is trying to remain as positive as possible. Penske qualified 1 through 4. Now he's chasing them currently in the 4th position. Remember last time Penske qualified 1 through 4, Scott Dixon ended up winning at Road America. Jan?
And a very interesting fact for Alexander Rossi. He said, this track just doesn't give me the feel that I need. I feel just uncomfortable in turn 1 and 2 every time. I think I like bumpier racetracks because I can feel the back of the car a little bit better. He says, this repave actually has taken me a long time to get the feel of the car, Anders.
Yeah, and Jan, Ryan Hunter-Reay was a little bit hesitant prior to the race. He said, I don't really think we have it. But look, here he is yet again, another short oval, running in the top 6, and I think he's going to make his way all the way to the front. Katie?
Anders, James Hinchcliffe struggled in the very first practice of the weekend. Then the team threw some big changes at that car, and he was extremely happy with it during qualifying. So far, they've only made a tire pressure adjustment and hinges up 3 spots. Jan?
And Graham Rahal has obviously a single car team and not the opportunity to share information. Now, he's not using that as an excuse. He says it's just going to take us longer on a brand new racetrack because we don't have as much information. He just called on the radio saying, I do have some push. I want some more front wing. Anders?
Yeah, and Connor Daly has been chasing a car that's been almost a little bit understeer to oversteer, which as Townsend and Paul can talk to later is the worst feeling you have in the car. But he feels like right now they're in a nice little window, just a couple of turns to front wing or 2, and he'll be in really, really good shape. Now, shifting back to J.R. Hildebrand, he has made his way forward as well. He started 15th, excuse me, all the way up to the top 10 now, and he's trying to chase down Sebastian Saavedra and putting him another lap down. Sebastian Saavedra struggling. Let's pay attention if he can pop here into turn 1. J.R. Hildebrand making that move. Nice run here for J.R. Hildebrand. And then to the other AJ Foyt racing car of Carlos Munoz. Carlos as well, it's been such a breath of fresh air to see him run near the front again. He's had such a struggle this year, and if you look back at his career with Andretti Autosport, he was always so strong on the oval, so it's been a big frustration for him to not be able to perform at his best, but he feels, finally, I'm at the front of the field again. Katie?
Ed Jones is just a rookie, and he was looking forward to this year to be able to learn from Sebastian Bourdais. Then all of a sudden his teammate was ripped from him at Indianapolis. Now that Sebastian Bourdais is back, Ed Jones is looking forward to continue to learning from him this weekend. Then guess who's right behind him? That's his teammate, Sebastian Bourdais, who is back for the first time since his major crash at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's not been a very easy weekend for him, though. He said he's having a lot of trouble gaining his confidence back in the car.
Great work, Katie, Anders, Jan. They've got the hard job. We have the cushy assignment up here in the booth as Joseph Newgarden continues to make his way through the field. Also want to mention, we talked to Takuma Sato. They were trying to repair that car. They were unable to repair it, so he is going to retire and finish in 19th position. Now, speaking of Takuma Sato, Robin Miller learned some news today about his future, and we're starting to see some movement of where things are going to shake out for 2018, Robin.
Well, Marshall Pruitt, my comrade at Racer.com, we wrote a story a couple hours ago that Sato will be with Bobby Rahal's team next year, and Graham will have a teammate for the first time. And they, of course, Rahal has already had an association with Sato, and they got along well, and Sato almost won the Indy 500 for him. So we think it might be a pretty good match. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean everybody just assumes because Sato is going to Rahal that Michael Andretti is definitely going to Chevrolet. I don't think so. I don't think that means anything right now. I just think Sato got tired of waiting and made a move.
So that's the first. So many more to come. Most of the field is out of contract after this season, and there's some heavyweights as well. And as Robin mentioned, we're still waiting to hear what Michael Andretti is going to do, remain with Honda or go to Chevy. We know that guy in the blue and white car is going to be with Team Penske next year and for many years to come.
Yeah, we said earlier on in the show, Roger is high on this guy. He thinks he's one of the greatest drivers that's probably been with the team. He sees a lot of championships in this kid, Townsend.
Well, and I think you could see championships from Joseph Newgarden for a long time still. You know, a young driver in his mid-20s. He's come up through the junior formulas, the Mazda road to Indy, through the Indy Lights Series. I think, Anders, you've done some wheel-to-wheel action with this guy.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was unfortunate enough to do racing against him, wheel-to-wheel in Indy Lights, and the guy was just a machine from the offset. Came over from Europe, had done some GP3 racing, then came to Indy Lights, won his very first race at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, and we actually got to race wheel-to-wheel at Indy, but I could just tell this guy is a guy that you can respect racing side by side with, and he's just the real deal. So exactly what you guys said at the top of the show, I think Joseph Newgarden is going to be with Team Penske for many, many years to come, and I think there's going to be a lot of championship there.
Well, if there's anything I could critique about tonight, he's leading comfortably. I don't really like Townsend, him dipping onto that white line in turn 1 and 2 with the crashes we've seen down there, guys getting close on that line like Kanaan. I've played it maybe a little bit safer than that, but he's in control.
I don't think he's at all concerned about what any of us think. Frankly, he's done such a great job. The only blemish this season was probably that Texas restart that he had where he went 3 wide, got caught out with the kitty litter, had a pretty spectacular shunt there. But short of that, I mean, he is just so confident, as are his teammates. His Penske teammates are so confident with this setup. They're all running basically the same setup. It's a stiff car, gives you a lot of confidence, and it's working great around here.
Tell you what, Rossi right now, when you look at Charlie Kimball, Rossi is closed in on Dixon. He's only 0.6 of a second, but this right here is our closest battle on track with Bourdais and black and green car Charlie Kimball.
Speaking of Charlie Kimball, he's been on the radio reporting that changing the tire pressures did not change the vibration. Anytime you hear something about vibration on these radios, remember we've had races this year that vibration sometimes can lead to if a car is not handling properly, but they're trying to address it right now with tire pressure. But Charlie Kimball obviously is pressing forward still now with good speed.
These are the last 2 cars on the lead lap. Behind them you see Tony Kanaan, who's 3 laps down after he lost control on the pace lap, and then Joseph Newgarden is the next blue and white car, the leader of the race. There's Kanaan. He's looking for a lot of help to be able to get laps back at this point. So still a long way to go here from Gateway. Just under 100 laps complete of this 300-plus mile event. We are now under yellow at Gateway Motorsports Park. Our 3rd caution of the day, and contact for J.R. Hildebrand. He appears to be okay. He's already talked with the team. The Homatro safety crew is already there. J.R. was having a pretty decent run. He was running in 10th, but he's made pretty significant contact with the wall.
We heard on his radio, he said he thought the suspension broke or the right front tire went down. It's on the exit of 3 and 4. As we get a replay now, it's an easy flat corner for these guys, and take a look here. It just went straight. Yeah, it's broke. It's sparking.
You can see the sparks.
It's so something for sure broke on that car. It's been a bad night for Ed Carpenter's team.
That's a big, big hit. You are fully committed, wide open. That's like a rock on an end of a string and cutting the string, you know, spinning the rock at a furious pace. Lucky to see him get out all right, and it's been, as he said, a very, very expensive night for ECR.
There's Ed already in the street clothes. He was, he spun behind the spinning Will Power at the start of this race, and now his teammate J.R. Hildebrand also in the wall.
Now what this serves up is an opportunity for everyone in the top 5 to make a move on Joseph Newgarden. So the gunslingers on pit lane are ready and under pressure to perform, because this is how you can get the lead right here.
And this is a tight, narrow pit lane. The boxes are big. but the pit lane is very narrow.
Yeah, and Elio Castroneves super happy with his car. They're just going to add some additional front tire pressure, and after that, adding a half a turn of front wing and be on their way. Katie?
It's been a nearly flawless day for Joseph Newgarden, but he's working the front bar out on the racetrack. Let's see if he gets any adjustment, a front wing adjustment for him. Jan?
For Simon Pagenaud, they've talked on the radio saying we will make a front wing change. Did not say whether it would be up or down. It was like a little bit of a delay possibly on the right front, and they are adding front wing. There goes Castroneves, there goes Newgarden, and third for Simon Pagenaud.
And once again, the number 3 Penske crew, Elio Castroneves, they got him a position there. They got him the lead. And it seems like every year at the Indy 500 pit stop competition, Paul, those guys come to play.
Well, Roger said Elio's my guy when we met with him today. He said, hey, I could have gone with the new guy. I could pick whoever I want on the team. But he said, Elio's my guy, and I want him to win. So he's got him out front. He's been stalking Newgarden. He's been right there with him. So they definitely beat him out on the pit stop exchange.
Now, Newgarden does lose the spot, but I could see there in our triple box, I think it was his outside front tire changer that held him to avoid contact. I think this is Vance Welker on the outside front. So let's watch the end of this stop. I think they completed the service in their normal allotment of time. He makes the wing change, and he's holding him an extra second just to be safe and make sure there's not any problem this very, very narrow pit road.
I'm a little surprised by that, Paul. There's 2 lanes there that they would have held him. Oh, there it is.
It was close. He almost was out into the side of him. I don't think he didn't hold him for very long. I think Rogers' crew was just that little bit quicker. You could see, I just saw, if we can replay that again, the fuel hose came out a little bit slow on Newgarden's car. The guy pulled it halfway out, and then it got stuck, and he had to yank at it again.
So that's maybe what he was waiting for instead of the traffic.
Yes.
Okay.
Hopefully we can get another replay of that.
Yeah, but the fuel hose was already out, Paul. It's almost like they just waited because they were worried about maybe some contact.
Watch this right here. When he goes to pull it out, it's going to get stuck halfway coming out, and then he has to yank on it really hard.
Yeah, but then they
just that.
They still held. He still held an extra second or two. But we've had so many problems on pit road. I've always argued on the super speedways, the passes like Indy and Pocono where it's easy to pass, better to be safe than sorry. This is not really one of those tracks, though. This is one where you probably, unfortunately, have to push the issue a little bit.
Listen, that's the second stop for Joseph Newgarden. When it's the 4th stop and the final stop, I don't think they'll be holding him. They'll be sending him, and Tim Cindric will be racing his boss, Roger Penske, absolutely 10-tenths.
Those guys down on pit road, I think, are just as brave as the drivers. They are in harm's way, and they get after it. So we've got a restart coming up in a little bit. It's still Penske 1, 2, 3. We've changed up the order a little bit. Elio Castroneves still seeking his first title is in front.
Qualifying for the Belgian Formula One Grand Prix on Saturday at the legendary Spa-Francorchamps circuit, people witnessed something that many thought they would never, and that is a driver equaling Michael Schumacher's all-time pole position record of 68. Well, it was done by Mercedes driver Lewis Hamilton. He was in a league of his own, and he achieved this historic landmark by setting the fastest lap ever turned in a Formula One car around Spa. And it has truly resonated with the 3-time world champ. He starts on pole for tomorrow's Belgian Grand Prix.
Lewis Hamilton had a great tweet today saluting Michael Schumacher today. Looking forward to that tomorrow morning with Lee Diffie and the gang, and we're looking forward to having Diff back with us next weekend in Watkins Glen. He's going to do double duty, Monza in the morning, and then somehow we're going to teleport him to Watkins Glen coming up. And look at the crowd that's here tonight to see the return of IndyCar to the St. Louis area.
Well, Roger Penske, your man is out in front again, just like he was 14 years ago. How does Elio Castroneves keep coming back and just getting stronger and stronger?
Well, he's really on it tonight. We had a great pit stop. The boys here on our car just did an outstanding job. A good fight here with all the cars. Dixon's right there behind us and ready to jump on us. So we got a big night yet to go. Lots of right to go here. We got one to go here at the line, so I got to get back to work.
We'll let Roger get back to work here with Elio Castroneves chasing another win here. Katie?
And Joseph lost one position to his teammate Elio Castroneves on pit lane. Tim, can he get it back out on the track?
Yeah, I think he can. It was all down to me, really. I thought the 18 was coming across our bow, so we held him here in the pits, but it was actually the 19 car. Bourdais must have missed his pit here, but yeah, he's confident he can get it back, but it's down to me holding him here. I thought we were going to have a bit of a collision, but anyway, we'll see what happens.
Also a big weekend for Tim himself. His son is making his Xfinity debut tomorrow at Road America.
And he has been quick in practice. He's also running in the ARCA race, and I know Tim and Roger and others are going to be able to get to Road America for that tomorrow. So after the F1 race in the afternoon on NBC, you can watch Xfinity from Road America. Our Parker Kligerman is running in this race, and James Davison, who led laps in the Indy 500, he I think was the quickest in practice, so they'll qualify tomorrow. So it's a great motorsports weekend again here on NBC and NBCSN. All right, here we go.
See if Joseph Newgarden has another outside move.
Nice start by Castroneves. He got a nice little jump there. Pagenaud all over the back of Joseph Newgarden. He goes for the inside.
Pagenaud in the yellow car in third. Newgarden in the blue and white. He jumped to the front at the start of the race, but this time he cannot get by Helio Castroneves. Castroneves retains the lead on the restart.
Newgarden was putting a nice little fade on Simon Pagenaud there, Paul.
Couple of fades going down the back straightaway all the way to the grass.
Pagenaud told me before the race, I think I need to get going now. I need to start scoring more points than my teammates. Time's running out, so it's going to get aggressive at the front as Hinchcliffe is holding off Alexander Rossi.
Will Power, who crashed in the opening corner, would be 74. Back right now, and it's starting to get racy a little bit further in the back. That's Bourdais, and a big wiggle for Sebastian Saavedra, who hangs on to it.
Here comes Marco Andretti now looking up the inside of Bourdais going into turn 3. It looks like Andretti will have the position.
Andretti made some changes. He had a long pit stop. I think they made some wing changes, adjusted the back wing on his car, so maybe he's struggling. Maybe he'll get a little bit more racy.
There's Newgarden in the blue car chasing the leader in the gold and white car. Helio Castroneves with the Shell Fuel Reward sponsorship here today. Just one lap to go. Look at this gaggle of cars on board with Sebastian Saavedra.
And it looked like everybody was checked up on Sebastian Bourdais. I'm not sure what kind of issues he's having or if he's just...
Looking to the outside. Outside.
And Saavedra had to go way down below the white line to avoid Bourdais.
Paul, you figure that Bourdais just kind of trying to bed himself back into oval racing, his first race back after that massive accident, or do you think there's some issues there?
Well, he was running up 13th, 12th before that last pit stop exchange and kind of closing in on his teammate Jones, so he was making ground, but he just fell back on those pit stops and then had a bad restart.
Bourdais is last on the lead lap. He is running in 15th. Also of note, Carlos Munoz, who is 12th, was disadvantaged by the yellow. He had just made his pit stop and came in, so that moved him to the back of the lead lap. He is one of those that came in and topped off during that caution.
Get the feeling we're going to see a lot of action from these 5 Hondas. There's Dixon, Hinchcliffe in the gold and black car, Alexander Rossi, and Graham Rahal. As we get to the later stages, these guys are looking very racy for that best of the rest title behind the 3 Penske's.
Connor Daly just passed Hunter Ray for position, so he's moving forward as well.
You see Alexander Rossi trying to stay in contact with James Hinchcliffe. On that last pit stop, there was some blistering of his right front tire. We saw the same thing for Simon Pagenaud, both of which had been on the radio saying they had understeer. So what we're seeing, those that push hard with the front sliding, they are getting a little bit of blistering. They've made adjustments on pit road and new tires. Katie?
We noticed Sebastian Bourdais was dropping back in the field a little bit, so I want to get the word from the boss, Dale. Is Sebastian feeling okay, or is he just settling back into oval racing?
He's doing better today. Yesterday, the steering was pretty hard, but today we changed it a little bit, and he's doing much better tonight.
How proud are you of Sebastian Bourdais for rallying from that accident, and here he's back earlier than we even expected?
Well, the surgeon told us right after the surgery he's definitely out for the year, but Sebastian wouldn't have any of that, so he worked hard to get back. So we're happy to have him back.
I can tell you guys it's been all smiles from the entire 18 crew all weekend long right before Sebastian got back in the car. Lots of high fives and good luck. Be safe.
Now, we had a competition meeting before the race with the series organizers at Chief Stewart Brian Barnhart. I specifically said to him, have you had any tire blistering problems? He said, no, the tires are really durable. Now we have a case Well, we've had a couple tires blister, and that could have been Hildebrandt's problem when he went in the wall.
Well, there's a big difference between practicing and qualifying and racing, because when you're racing on a short oval like these two guys, you're driving in a lot of dirty air. And when you're driving in dirty air, you're relying on the tire for more of your total grip than the aerodynamics that you have in practice. So that'll put a lot of demand, excessive demand on the tire, and that can lead to blistering.
On board with Tony Kanaan, who remains 2 laps down, so he's got 1 of the laps back. And looking up ahead, we were seeing the battle to get in the top 10. Ed Jones, the rookie, holding off Charlie Kimball for the moment. There's Kimball in the green and black Novo Nordisk Tresiba car.
Let's go back and look what happened to Tony Kanaan at the start of the race. It was really bizarre. I mean, he runs 2 laps down now, but the start was kind of a rookie mistake, frankly, on the warm-up lap with Tony Kanaan on a very slick surface. Let's take a look at this. Just too much throttle, too much wheel spin. This was the warm-up lap. And a pretty sizable impact there. Luckily, straight into the back where there's an attenuator off the back of the wing that can absorb a lot of the contact and not damage the gearbox.
You know, one thing I wonder, we had just been told by race officials that they were going to wave off the start of the race because there was some debris from fireworks on the backstretch, so they weren't really up to full pace speed. And then they realized and decided, no, it's all clear, we're going to go as scheduled. And there was a lot of hustle in the back of the field to catch up, so he was probably on it a little more than he otherwise would have been to try to catch up with the pack.
It's definitely a messy pace lap and start to the race. We've got Will Power out of the race. First corner, huge disappointment for him, but everything is settled down now. We've got a nice little race up front. Castro Neves has taken the lead away from Newgarden, who looked dominant.
He led 92 laps through the first sequence of green flag pit stops. Castro Neves has now led 22, and also at stake the 2 bonus points for most laps led. Newgarden has not clinched that at this moment, so that is still up for grabs.
Keeping an eye on Alexander Rossi, just like Pocono last weekend. It sure looks like in the second half of the tire stint that Rossi gets stronger. Don't know if that's car setup or it could be a combination of that and just more and more experience. Second year in the IndyCar series, obviously won the Indy 500 as a rookie, but you can't accelerate oval racing experience. You just have to take the time to accumulate that. We've seen it with Will Power, we've seen it with Simon Pagenaud, and Jan, you know, just like a lot of us that have been in these cars before, it takes time.
Yes, it does, and of course we had that discussion, Townsend, about Alexander Rossi at Pocono. He had a shot to win that race, but the actual fuel mixture knob that they will use at the end of the race to choose what kind of setting, and they have a full go setting that they can run at the end of the race for more power, that fell off the steering wheel. He was kind of stuck in fuel save mode, couldn't show what he had, and we should keep that in mind because tonight, both Chevrolet and Honda, they do save power for the end of the race, and when they need it, they have a little more power for a short duration of time.
Well, Alexander Rossi has really taken to oval racing pretty nicely, and he's someone that was open. If you can find quotes from him from a few years ago when he was trying to climb the Formula One ladder, he had no interest in doing this. Now I think he's starting to like it a little bit.
I was Alexander Rossi's teammate at the Indy 500 last year, and I can vividly remember the first few days of practice. He wanted no part of the action out there. He just looked me in the eyes and said, "This is crazy. What are you guys thinking?"
Well, winning the biggest race in the world tends to change your outlook on it a little bit.
Yep.
And he's got good.
Chilton getting pretty racy here with Carlos Munoz. So Dixon, he's got Hinchcliffe and Rossi breathing down the back of his neck up towards the front of the field. As we watch, we come back to them. So we got Hinchcliffe right here is putting some pressure on Dixon. Dixon didn't really have any pressure in the first stint. He was kind of all by himself behind the Penske cars, and everything now that it's starting to cool down is tightening up a little bit.
Those are the top 2 Hondas. Hinchcliffe in 5th. Ahead of him, we can see Dixon in 4th. The top 3 are Chevys. And there's Helio Castroneves out in front. He won the last time IndyCar raced here back in 2003. And he won the last short oval race as well. He has started to take over a little bit. Took the lead on the last pit stop sequence, and the last time on a short oval, he snapped his 3-year drought. Can Helio Castroneves climb the fence again tonight in St. Louis? Tonight from Gateway, the final oval race of 2017. We finish up with 2 on the road course, including one of the classics. Watkins Glen next Sunday as IndyCar continues on NBCSN. Make sure you join us for the IndyCar Grand Prix at the Glen next Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern, where Scott Dixon has won 4 times. So nice to be back last year. Can't wait to get there next weekend.
Beautiful part of the country, not far from Toronto, Paul. It's like a 2-hour drive or something.
Well, it's a little further than that. I never ran there throughout most of my whole career up until the last couple years, and it was an absolute treat to go there. Great track, super fast, high speed, flowing corners. It's really right up Scott Dixon's alley. So he is battling tonight, 4th place, hanging on here. So
it looks like he has a really good car. In fact, all of the Hondas running 4th, 5th, and 6th with Dixon, Hinchcliffe, Rossi, and Rahal. They seem to be able to actually follow closer to the car in front. If you look at the Penske's right now, they're a little more spread out in the Chevys. So if there's a chance for a restart, a long stint here, the Hondas might have a shot.
So Castroneves is in front, but Anders, they have possibly a concern.
Yeah, exactly. He just came over the radio and said, I'm having a little bit of a right front vibration. His crew then came on the radio and said, just go softer on your front bar. That'll ease that load on the right front tire a little bit more. As soon as I heard that, I ran down to his pit stall and I looked at his tires from the previous pit stop, and a lot of graining on that right front tire. So that's certainly a concern for the 3 crew at the moment.
So the plot thickens. At Phoenix, they had tire issues 2 years in a row. Blistering here, this track is very similar to Phoenix, possibly getting blistering on the front. We know that a couple of other cars have had blistering problems on the first stint, so this could be a factor. We know these Penske guys, Townsend, like to work their front tires pretty hard.
Yeah, they do. They work the setup with a lot of, well, we think right front cross weight and add a lot of wing angle to get the car to turn, a lot of front wing angle. You remember Montoya had a couple of tire issues as well on short ovals.
What about Texas this year? It seemed like Penske had more of the blistering issues. We heard more reports of blistering.
Well, we know for sure that Helio Castroneves had a front tire go down and he hit the wall in Texas. So there's definitely some reason to have concern and be alarmed.
So Dixon running in 4th behind the 3 Penske's. We debated in the open whether anyone had anything for the Penske, but we were chatting this afternoon and just being realistic. I said, if you're Scott Dixon, wouldn't you run away here ecstatic if you could finish 4th or 5th to stay in the championship?
Absolutely. With the advantage that Chevrolet's had at this track, right now as they run, Scott Dixon is 3rd, 29 points out of the championship lead. With Watkins Glen and Sonoma road courses ahead, Dixon absolutely would be thrilled, I think, to come out just as he is.
And when you see Scott Dixon trying to chase down Simon Pagenaud, Simon has been on the radio saying, I still have big understeer. They're telling him, hey, Simon, just hang in there, get to the next stop, we'll add more wing. Look at that deficit, though. He is dropping back with that push. And the problem is, guys, like you're talking about, you start working that front tire with push. Blisters, which he has already had, could be a problem.
And I think for Pagenaud, if he is struggling, he'll come to pit lane really soon, just entering the pit window at around lap 150. We're at 149 right now. So if Pagenaud's struggling and needs more front wing, why not just come now? The only risk is if yellow comes out, you're fully exposed.
That's Pagenaud in the yellow car. He's 3rd in this race. Dixon, blue and white again in TT data, is behind him. Nice run so far for James Hinchcliffe, back in 5th as we go on board with Dixon looking up ahead on that Menards car. Joseph Newgarden dominated the opening stages of this race. He went around Will Power at the beginning, then Power lost it, and Newgarden running 2nd right now is the subject of our Chevy driver profile. So look at these stats for the beginning of his career. First with Sarah Fisher's team, then the combination with Sarah and Ed Carpenter Racing, then with Ed last year, and then he's already matched those number of wins in 14 races with Team Penske.
I tell you what, Castroneves is complaining about front tire problems, but in the last 3 or 4 laps, he is completely checked out on Newgarden. It's now 2.5 seconds, so we don't know if Newgarden's run into a problem. Look at this gap right here. It was so close, and now, you know, Castroneves is complaining about his car, but he's leaving the rest of the field.
Maybe that bar adjustment that they suggested to Castroneves was the magic fix. Sometimes it doesn't take much to just settle down whatever imbalance you have, and then the confidence comes back along with the lap times.
You're exactly right, Townsend, and that's exactly what he's done. He's eased off the throttle a little bit on the way into the corners, not adding so much steering input right in the middle. So that's taken a lot of strain off those tires, and I think from the longevity perspective, that's going to help him a lot, Katie.
Joseph isn't complaining about any vibrations, and they haven't had any blistering on his tires so far here at Gateway, but he is complaining about the rear end getting away from him a little bit. He said it needs to be much better through the corner. They're going to fix that on his next stop. Kevin?
Well, Newgarden is still chasing Castroneves, but Elio is running about 1/10 of a second better each lap right now from the other leaders. Here's Newgarden, he's really lost vision of Castroneves. It's nearly 3 seconds. Pagenaud gaining a little bit, and Dixon back there in 4th is within range. There's another look at the leader.
It's a big lead. 3 seconds at 195 miles an hour on the straightaway here is a big lead. It's half the front straightaway, so this is the biggest lead of the night so far.
Guess what, fellas? When they had the last test here after they repaved it, Castroneves was 6/10 faster than the closest guy. Connor Daly was second, and every driver to a man said, Castroneves he's gonna wax us. We got no chance. He's gonna just check out, and that's exactly what he's doing.
I honestly felt like after what we saw yesterday, it was going to be between Power and Newgarden, although I still certainly gave Castroneves and Pagenaud a chance. One of those, Power, is out. All right, 3rd round of pit stop sequence is beginning. Ryan Hunter-Reay is in, Anders.
Yeah, and Ryan Hunter-Reay just had to save a little bit of fuel on that last stop. That's why you saw him fall back from 5th to 9th, but he'll be on his way here. And Elio Castroneves pitting as well. He's super happy with the car after he went softer on the front bar. No changes to the front wing or tire pressure this time by. He's just looking for a clean stop. Jan?
We're waiting for Alexander Rossi to make his stop, and one thing we're going to do, he is one of the cars that did have some blistering. So, wait, something's wrong with Castroneves. He stalled. Wow, so while that's happening, I'm looking very closely, and there are a few small blisters on the right front of Alexander Rossi. They add a little bit of front wing, but not too much, and now they're waiting on Sunoco fuel. Alexander Rossi on sticker tires.
So 2 longer pit stops than wanted, and we won't find out until Newgarden and the others pit, but Castroneves is likely to have lost the lead there.
I would think so if they had to start it. He had a pretty healthy lead, almost 4 seconds, so we'll see where this shakes out here in the next lap or two, but it's going to be tight.
James Hinchcliffe exiting. Graham Rahal has made his stop. They've been racing on the track, and there's Newgarden in, Katie.
Tim Cindric just said, hey, buddy, we need to play a little bit of offense. Remember, Joseph had a bad stop last time. Elio, a bad stop this time. Joseph needs to be nice and quick.
Okay, this is an opportunity for Simon Pagenaud. We're watching to see where Newgarden's about halfway down. They add some front wing, and it's going to be neck and neck. But Newgarden gets him off of the pit stop.
So now the question is, where is Elio Castroneves as Newgarden and Pagenaud get back up to speed?
Well, he's not even in the picture, so he is way out of it now. Now Dixon comes out in 3rd place for a podium position. And here comes Castroneves.
He's still got a full head of steam, but I think they're going to be up to speed by the time Elio gets there. So the issue on pit lane cost Castroneves track position. Let's watch again what happened to Elio. Well, you can already see the signal saying that the car is dead.
Yeah, he's letting his guys know the engine's died. There you see the mechanic in the back with the electric starter.
That was really odd that it stalled on its way into the pit box.
But I got to tell you, that's not much time lost. That shows you how prepared Penske is. I've lost 50 seconds in that scenario before because sometimes they struggle to get the starter in. They're not ready. But that was minimizing the damage. Castroneves now running 4th. He lost 3 spots. He's got a fast car, but that was, you know, really damaging on a green flag stop every millisecond's going to count for positions. For Newgarden, it's a bit of redemption. He had an issue which wasn't his fault on pit lane, little misunderstanding with trafficking the car on the pit stand. That little bobble put him in second, but now he cycles back to the lead with Castroneves having an issue.
And now Scott Dixon has gotten into the middle of the Penske drivers. He is running in third. Castroneves, we see there, is in fourth. There's Dixon in the blue and white car with a little bit of orange on the front. Right up ahead of him is the yellow car of Pagenaud, and there's your leader, Joseph Newgarden, by about a second. And there the points as they run. Will Power of note, all the way 84 points back in fifth with just 2 to go, really 3 to go because the finale is double points.
This is starting to feel a bit like Road America, where we thought the Penskes would dominate. Nobody had a chance, and now Paul, Scott Dixon, you're saying he's got a chance.
Well, this is reminding me a lot of like Phoenix, the Phoenix race, where Dixon just kind of worked his way steadily forward and got a win there. So it's I tell you can never count this cat out. Never, ever count out Scott Dixon.
Rumors of Scott Dixon's demise were greatly over-exaggerated. Isn't that a Mark Twain line? We're not too far away from Mark Twain country. Right now, Joseph Newgarden is in front at St. Louis. Back at Gateway near St. Louis, and we are under our 4th caution. Just a moment ago, Max Chilton made contact. Exit of turn number 4 down on the inside. He's climbed out of the car. He looks good. And then several that are at the back of the field are using this chance to top off. Everyone had just made their 3rd stop, so some others coming in to top off, and some like Marco Andretti to make more significant changes. They're either changing the angle of the wing. Let's first find out what happened to Max Chilton.
Lost it behind. He was really tucked up behind the car behind him, and it just got away from him. Townsend, the back end kicked out, and he hit the outside wall pretty hard.
Behind one of the Foyt cars, probably trying to get a run, trying to stay flat through 3 and 4. Pretty good whack there.
So Joseph Newgarden is the leader. He took over the lead. He lost the lead the first time after a slightly slower pit stop, held for traffic. Helio Castroneves had it, was expanding his lead up to 3 seconds, but on his pit stop, he stalled the car, so he comes back out running in 4th. So it's Newgarden, Pagenaud, Dixon, Castroneves, and Hinchcliffe.
I think the yellows continue to help Scott Dixon. There's now really no fuel concern. Everybody will make one more stop to the end. The windows are pretty wide.
It's a good point. We thought Chevy was getting better fuel mileage because the Hondas have a little more drag. So that puts Dixon back on an even playing field from the fuel game.
Unpredictable, these night races. You never know what's going to happen. You got some crashes now. We've got some tire blistering issues on a couple of cars. Castroneves stalls, so we got a long way to go. We got about 100 miles to go, or about 70 miles to go. So there's a lot of action can happen. I think Dixon, he's been all over the back of Pagenaud, and I think he can make a run at him.
I think Katie is downstairs with Mike Hull.
Well, in Road America, we thought it was going to be a Penske party. We thought it was going to be a Penske party again today. Can you work your magic again and get Scott in front of them?
Well, I think the magic's holding on. He's got his hands at 10 and 2 here. We just work really hard here. We always do, and we don't give up easily. And whether we're down 400 or 500 pounds of downforce doesn't really matter to us.
Scott's going to take the fight to them. He's in 3rd right now, Jan.
And of course, Kyle Moyer's on the radio with Simon Pagenaud. He had a lot of understeer early on. Have you been able to fix that?
Yeah, no, we've been adding wing all night. The car's been really good. It just understeers, and as it goes, it gets on understeering. This is, I think, the first time we finally got to be able to come back on some of our tools, our weight jack, our rear bar, and everything. So the car was really balanced at the end of that last stint. Hopefully that stays. We did add a little bit more front wing, but the Menard's car has just been a little bit on edge, but not bad at all.
Now there was some tire blistering early. I saw the last set of tires looked okay. Have you cured that?
Yeah, no, with the understeer we had the blister on the right front. Just our fault we didn't keep up with the track and the car quick enough, but now it's okay.
All right, Simon Pagenaud's got a car he likes now.
Good to hear on the Firestone front that blistering is not going to be an issue. Pagenaud and Kyle Moyer think they're going to be racy. We know Joseph Newgarden has been hooked up tonight And then there's Scott Dixon with 41 wins. One more and he ties Michael Andretti for third on the all-time list. He is lurking. I think we've got some good in-car radio to listen to.
Brady's struggling to get the front tires to get going with the track. Okay, copy that. On the front tires. Yeah. It seems like off of yellows, we're able to get the heat in them quick enough for you compared to everybody else. It seems out of the pits we struggle, like you say.
So that was from a little while ago, so they have been tuning on it, making it more to his liking. And there's Tony Kanaan out of the car. So he was just 2 laps down after that issue, losing it on the cold tires on the pace lap. Stayed in, seemed to be relatively at pace, about one of the 3 laps back, but now has retired the car 2 laps down.
I wonder if there was some damage from that warm-up crash that just compounded or made it too difficult to continue. But frustrating night, and that picture there says it all. Championship points, top 4. Scott Dixon all alone with 3 Penske's. He's lone warrior's got to sort it out on his own. No help from Kanaan or the rest of his teammates.
Can I really speculate? Max Chilton was asked to retire the car at Pocono and wasn't real happy. Maybe in this case, Kanaan was as well. All right, let's go back to 97. And our hero, Paul Tracy. Look at this, 3rd late in the race, getting to 2nd and then eventually to the lead. Paul Tracy wins the inaugural IndyCar race here under kart sanction for Roger Penske in 1997 in car number 3, which is one of the contenders here tonight with Helio Castroneves. Where's the video of that Indy Lights domination you had with Scott Dixon in your rear view mirror?
It is under lock and key in the Bell family garage. We're cherishing that. And yeah, it was actually 2 years in a row we had good runs here, but tough track back in the day. It was dirty, Paul. You went in there with authority.
Yeah, we're getting ready to go, so this is going to be a critical restart here. This might be the last one of the night, so look at Pagano right up the back.
Pagano in 2nd in that bright yellow car. The leader is Joseph Newgarden. Watch Scott Dixon in 3rd. Castroneves is in 4th. Back to green in Gateway. Racing on the final oval of 2017. Pagano looks to the inside. Nothing there. Dixon can't find a way around. Castroneves, Hinchcliffe, Rahal. They come through, and they're side by side in the back. And somebody looked like they almost got sideways.
Alexander Rossi with a bold move on Hunter Ray.
Dixon, big run. Oh, he gets chopped. He had look at the steering wheel on Scott Dixon. He's loose, but he had a big run coming off it too. He's got another one right now. He got the fade job. He's going to have to go the long way.
Pagano defends, and that will get the job done. We saw Newgarden do that to do that to perfection on Newgarden.
And now Castroneves.
He just got checked up by in the middle of the corner. Castroneves has a run. This is going to be tight here, and he goes through.
Further back, Alexander Rossi looking very racy, making a move there on Graham Rahal and his teammate Ryan Hunter-Reay. Those two had gone side by side. So all of the field knows starts, and in this case restarts, that's where you're going to make your hay, make your money tonight, because it's really tough once it fans out.
That's Rossi working on Graham Rahal again. That's for 6th position. That's where Rahal runs. Not that time. Up front, it's Penske once again. 1, 2, 3. Power the early exit, crashing in the opening corner at the start of the race. So it's Newgarden, Pagano, and Castroneves leading Dixon and Hinchcliffe.
Rossi taking a look.
I tell you, Rossi's just able to follow closer. Same thing at Pocono. He's really figured out how to draft in dirty air on a short oval, on a super speedway. And he's the only guy I've seen go side by side all the way through 1 and 2 on that restart, as Kimball is having a look on Connor Daly.
Well, what happened to Connor Daly? He was running up inside the top 10 pretty comfortably. Now he's behind his teammate Munoz, who was struggling the last stint. So after the pit stop exchange, everything kind of switched around for Daly. So he's trying to make his way back inside the top 10.
That's the lead group right there. Hunter-Reay we see there, he is in 8th. Then it's Munoz in 9th, Kimball in 10th, Daly in 11th, then Ed Jones, Sebastian Saavedra, Sebastian Bourdais, the 14 on the lead lap. only one other in the race right now after Kanaan has retired. Marco Andretti is 15th. He is a lap down. Kimball pops down low. Can't get Munoz there for 9th.
But Daly will get a run coming off the corner. He got checked up. Daly is right there.
Oh!
Big block. That will definitely get looked at by the chief steward. So that was a huge defensive maneuver on the back straightaway.
That did not appear to me to be done first. Was that? I want to see this again before I really comment, but that seemed to be
Connor
a reaction
Daly
to
moves. 50-50. You can make an argument that Kimball was just going right as Daly was going, but I think Kimball knew exactly when Daly was going to pop.
How did he get away with that? Reactionary blocking.
And
What an idiot.
I think the Irish,
Connor Daly, by the way.
the Irish American just got very Irish.
Oh, look at this. Pagano coming back now. So Pagano's car's come some changes to the wing, and he's coming alive. Struggling there. He touched the curb, got a little loose, but he was struggling on cold tires. But as the tires are wearing now, he's getting better.
Yes, that's exactly what we heard on the radio, because Kyle Moyer said, yes, the car is good, but then we heard Simon say, I just can't get heat in the tires after the caution, so now he has heat. But unfortunately, he made that run. Now look, he's dropping back in the clutches of Castro Neves.
Scott Dixon and James Hinchcliffe going at it. Dixon under pressure from Hinch. I think a lot of these guys thought it was going to just settle into single file running and sort of got caught out with the car trailing behind.
Oh,
Here
look at
comes
this.
more action.
Another big move down the back straightaway. He got checked up. And Hinchcliffe got checked up by Dixon, and that allowed Rahal to get a run. So as the track is started to cool down, now these guys are starting to get a lot more racing. Now these 4 cars on the front straightaway.
We said in the early going, while it's processional, that might not stay that way as drivers learn this track and the grip comes in a little bit. Rahal's move, there we see him. That moved him up to 5th in front of Hinchcliffe. Rossi's behind him, then Hunter Ray. And up front, they're going at it as well. We'll keep an eye on that battle up front while we watch the mid-pack.
This is the Honda Pride battle from Dixon all the way back to Hunter Ray. Somebody wants to be best of the rest with the Penske domination. But I was really surprised to see Pagano making a move on Newgarden, unless Newgarden had a big, had to get out of it, had some sort of an issue.
Well, I was wondering if something was going to be under review. You've got a little note in your hand?
Well, it was reviewed, the action between, or the on-track incident between the 83. There we see Charlie Kimball and Connor Daly. No action will be taken. They did take a look at it. And by the way, Charlie Kimball also just set the fastest lap of the race at just over 182 miles per hour.
Well, he's got Daly breathing down his neck again. Yeah. So Daly's got a quick car. If he's turned the fastest lap, look at this. He's side by side down the back straightaway on the outside this time. And Charlie starts coming back the other way on him here.
That's a double fade on Connor Daly. I'm pretty sure Connor Daly, that's a red mist behind the visor there. He's going to be absolutely furious and desperate to put the move back on Charlie Kimball.
And of course, Charlie Kimball pushing as hard as he can. And I can give you a quick update on his teammate, Tony Kanaan. He declined to talk to us, stormed off on the scooter and said, talk to Chip. We talked to Chip, he also declined. So I'm reading between the lines saying, I think they pulled Tony Kanaan out of that car. Anders?
Yeah, looking at the guy right behind Charlie Kimball right now. Indeed, Townsend, he is seeing red mist. His team came on the radio and said, open up the fuel setting. We want to get by Charlie Kimball. That's not cool.
Well, a lot of things going on at this Ganassi racing team. They parked Chilton last week. He was furious on the radio. We don't know if they did that to Kanaan, but we're not getting any indication from the team.
And there have been a lot of rumors that both of those guys will not be back with the team next year. Max Chilton, there was some radio conversation on the IndyCar website and on their social media where Max made it pretty clear what his intentions are. Robin can probably fill us in on that a little bit more about Max Chilton and Tony Kanaan's future.
I can promise you 3 things. Paul Tracy's not going to drive a sports car for Roger Penske. Max Chilton's not going to be driving for Chip Ganassi after a couple more races, and neither is Tony Kanaan. Take it to the bank. Not that it's a big scoop, but they ain't coming back, boys.
So who might be Scott Dixon's teammates next year? We see Charlie Kimball, and you've already reported that his sponsorship is a little bit uncertain and his future is uncertain.
I think a couple things, Kevin. They could be down to 2 or 3 cars, or do they want, I know they want Rossi, but I don't think he's going to leave Andretti if Michael stays with Honda, which I think he's going to. So I don't know. That's a good question, because will he have 2 cars or 3 cars, but he's going to have at least 2 new drivers.
Hey, Robin, what are the chances you get back in the newspaper business?
Never.
So that's another one.
TV's too easy.
All right, I mentioned Max Chilton. Let's go back to Pocono last week. He kind of quietly retired the car. We had so much action going on. We didn't get to really follow up on that story, but here's the radio conversation.
This lap.
Okay, how come?
We can't make up many positions with 3 laps down to everybody else.
We're not quitters. What's the point in stopping? Why can't I learn? At least I'm learning out here. The first time we've had a decent car in a while. Why can't we learn? Or are we just a quitting team?
What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, what I make of that is, I mean, you got to judge this whole thing on Ganassi's history. You look at their 24-hour wins. They never quit, never give up. They just keep going and going and going. Something odd is going on right now in that IndyCar program.
Well, especially when Max Chilton brings a truckload of sponsorship to the team, you know, why would you ask a guy who's delivering 100% of the budget to just stop, especially when he wants to continue? Usually it'll be the other way around. You're trying to psych the guy up to stay in it. So all is not well there in that relationship as Hunter-Reay continues to work on his teammate Alexander Rossi. And these Andretti cars are looking pretty strong.
Still Chevy in front, 1, 2, 3, and then Honda 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that is Hunter-Reay in 8th right now.
But you know what? Dixon, Rahal, Hinchcliffe, none of these guys are falling back behind the Penske's. It's not like there's a gap.
Correct.
It's just track position right now. And I think a lot of people, including myself, expected the Penske's to just pull away and go lap the field, and it's not happening.
Whoa. You got a little loose coming off the corner there. I saw a little oversteer.
Hey, that was nothing compared to last weekend. James Hinchcliffe with the save of a century. You see a front bar adjustment from Hinch. He stiffened the front anti-roll bar, try to help stabilize the front end of the car in the middle of 1 and 2.
So Hinchcliffe there running in 6, working on Graham Rahal, Dixon in 4th, and the Penske's are 1, 2, 3, with Joseph Newgarden entertaining the fans in St. Louis tonight. You saw it on Nonstop, 5th caution of the night at Gateway Motorsports Park, and it's for former champion and Indianapolis 500 winner Ryan Hunter-Reay. Brushed the wall.
Bent suspension in the rear. The mechanic is waving no go, no go. They need a toe link in the back. You see here, coming off the corner, he's up high and just looked like he missed the apex and brushed the wall. But there was a big pass in the background.
Yeah, Charlie Kimball.
By Charlie.
Shoved it under, but this is Ryan Hunter-Reay on the back straightaway. And, you know, that's
a big hit, but just enough to bend the suspension.
Like you said, they might be able to fix the toe link there. And he's backing away, I think, to stay on maybe the lead lap. They're probably going to try to catch back up to the field, pit again, and work on the car some more. But here's Charlie Kimball in front of his nemesis tonight, Connor Daly.
Look at this
Let's
pass.
see, this was on Munoz. Woo! That was close.
You could not have put a piece of paper between those guys.
So that got Kimball up to 8th. That's where Ryan Hunter-Reay was running, right behind Alexander Rossi.
I wonder if Munoz saw Hunter-Reay up high hitting the wall, might have backed off a little bit, and then Charlie just stuffed it down underneath, and I don't think it had gone yellow yet.
I wonder if Charlie Kimball knows that A.J. Foyt is here tonight. Because the old slap job might be coming his way after.
That was at a different oval. That was at Texas back in '97. For those that are newer IndyCar fans, it's always a classic. What, Billy Boat, AJ's driver. AJ felt he won the race. And he was in victory lane, but Arie Luyendyk really had won the race. There were some scoring issues, and Arie wanted to take his rightful place. Eventually they agreed, but for now, AJ felt victory lane was his.
AJ worked it out Texas style.
He did, he did. All right, the pits are open, and this is going to be the final pit stop of the race. So this is going to go quite a ways towards determining things. Newgarden, Pagenaud, Castroneves, Dixon, and Rahal, the top 5. Can anyone pick up spots here on pit lane? Both Newgarden and Castroneves both have had some issues that have caused them to lose the lead at one point in this race. Penske's coming in 1, 2, 3.
And
Newgarden is the championship leader.
You see him racing on the apron. Newgarden got after it behind the pace car. Look at the gap he put on Simon Pagenaud. That could pay off. Big lockup.
And Helio Castroneves feels like he's got a winning car. He just wants his track position back. Forgot to release the neutral button on the last stop. He's not going to make that mistake again. Katie?
Tim Cindric just motioned to the team in front of Joseph to make sure that Joseph has a clean out, because this has to be a clean stop for him. He's already down and away, Jan.
And this could be a championship pit stop for all three Penske cars. We see the other two are rolling. Are they going to beat out Simon Pagenaud? And maybe not. Looks like Simon Pagenaud might have it.
So close. Pagenaud just barely in front of Joseph Newgarden. Scott Dixon gets a spot up to third. Then it's Helio Castroneves in fourth.
And that could be the move for Pagenaud to win this race on pit lane. And remember, he earned that pit position based on qualifying back in Pocono. Newgarden and gang further back.
But does he have the cold tires, cold pressure? We see the pit stop. He's down and going. These guys are coming, but he beats him out by a half a car length as Dixon slides up in front of Castroneves. But does he have the speed on cold tires like Newgarden has in the first 2 or 3 laps?
Well, they've been making adjustments to the Menard Chevy all night. Look at the excitement from these guys. Well done. So much pressure on the pit crew on pit lane in a moment like that under full course yellow, and this pit lane is tighter than anything else in the series.
And keep in mind also that Pagenaud caught a break with Takuma Sato exiting the race earlier. He won the pole at Pocono, so he has that first pit stall. Pagenaud qualified second, so Pagenaud had the early out. Let's go back and watch Rahal stop.
Looks like there were some issues getting the fuel plugged in, maybe a second or two lost for Graham Rahal on pit lane, and that put him
fuel probe
back in sixth.
He pulled the fuel probe out. It's broken. Look at that spring hanging out of the side of the car. So it wasn't a fuel issue. It was he was leaving with the hose in.
So that spring is, well, tough getting in and out. As Ryan Hunter-Reay, it looks like they're going to unpack him from the cockpit. Still has to be sore after that massive qualifying crash at Pocono. He told me he was in one of those cryo chambers all week. Negative 250 degrees.
Look at how gingerly he's getting out. It's hard for him to just step out of the car. He's got to get out like he's...
Yeah, he said he was still sore this week. So he will have to exit this one early. Ryan Hunter-Reay is going to finish in 15th position. And up front, Simon Pagenaud is the third Penske car. Actually, all 4 have led now tonight because Power led under yellow at the beginning of the race after the aborted start when Kanaan lost it on the pace lap. Here's Newgarden stop again. Did he have any kind of a hiccup? What do you see in here?
I don't
Not
really
too
see
bad.
any. Oh, I got a little bit of a stall as it left the box. It kind of hiccuped as it drove out of the box.
But then let's watch Scott Dixon. He and Dixon were racing a little bit on this very narrow pit lane. Only Long Beach and Barber really compare to this one. You couldn't see it on that look. And they were nearly coming together.
It was so close at the pit exit. I think it all had to do with the pit stall location for Simon Pagenaud. That was the advantage. And we're hearing that Graham Rahal is going to go to the back of the field for that fueling issue incident.
We're going to go to the back of the field for a fuel probe violation.
Pretty much a clean stop for Newgarden, but he's in the pack of cars getting in and out. So I think Pagenaud with that pit box out, clear exit, which was an advantage.
And so Rahal now was running 6th. Now he's going to drop all the way back to 14th or 15th. Marco Andretti is now shown back on the lead lap.
Well, they're going to put Graham at the very back of the pack. In front of him is Jones and Bourdais, so I guess Marco's behind Graham.
All right, let's find out what happened to Ryan Hunter-Reay when he brushed the wall. Anders?
Yeah, Ryan Hunter-Reay coming out of the car there. Obviously some contact with the wall, but Ryan, as you're stepping out of the car, we see you moving very gingerly. Are you feeling beat up after all this for the last few weeks?
Yeah, it's just, you know, being in the same position that long. But anyway, that's not has nothing to do with what happened today. It just was really working on Alexander there. You know, had the speed for him. he got by him, just pushed it too hard into one. Just got up. If you're 2 inches high in turn 1, 2. I got up there earlier, actually got away with it, but yeah, just lost the front and smacked the rear. It's completely my fault. No way around that. Just pushing really hard. Unfortunate. So sorry to the 28 and DHL guys. You know, we deserved somewhere in the top 10 today. Certainly not where we are now.
Well, still an impressive run there for Ryan Hunter-Reay, making it all the way towards the front.
And we will go green the next time by.
Guys, we're amped up, ready to go, and we're not going green, but this restart here is going to be critical. We're coming down to the end here, so.
And Ray Hall in 14th position. Let's go back to the beginning. One of the championship contenders who won at Pocono a week ago on the start of the race. Will Power into the wall, and then trying to avoid him, Ed Carpenter launches over the top. Takuma Sato also involved. Marco Andretti had to crawl through.
Now, guys, that was on the start on a perfectly clean racetrack. This is a restart, and this track could be dirty offline like we saw Ryan Hunter-Reay get it. So let's see what happens if they go too wide.
Championship points in play. Many of the contenders up front. Back to green at Gateway. It's Pagenaud, Newgarden, teammates together on the outside. They will not make contact. Good hard racing between the Penske drivers, and Pagenaud stays in front.
Rossi making a move on Connor Daly, who's moved up a couple spots. He's gotten around the guy he was fighting with. Look at that, around the outside goes Connor Daly, so he's moved up really nicely into 5th place after the pit stops.
Nice, brave move for Connor Daly as Castroneves is working Scott Dixon to the high side in turn 1.
Tries the outside, can't do it there. Dixon hangs on to 3rd place. Castroneves runs in 4th. And behind him, what a run this is for Connor Daly. Would be the best result. He's in 5th that either of the Foyt cars have had all season.
He's right there behind Castroneves, breathing down his neck now, so he is on the move right now.
And up front, Joseph Newgarden is right behind Simon Pagenaud.
Get the sense that Joseph Newgarden knows that to win this race, he might have to make his move right now. While the tires are still fresh, he's got enough grip. Simon Pagenaud told us before the race, I think this is when I need to start going. This is the part of the championship. I need to outscore my teammates if I have a chance of taking my 2nd title on the trot.
Pagenaud has been in the top 5, 11 of 14 races, but just the 1 win. He needs to score the 50 points here tonight. Joseph Newgarden can take, I wouldn't say a stranglehold on the championship, but another win is going to move him that much closer.
Connor Daly right now 5th. If he finishes in the top 5, that would be like a win for him this season. It's been such a horrible season. He's been so demoralized. I spoke to his dad just before the race, and he said he was really frustrated with how qualifying went, that they missed on the setup again, but this would be almost like winning the race for him.
Dixon has fallen back a little bit in 3rd position, but has been able to keep Castroneves behind him.
He's got to run.
Pagenaud will try to defend on the low line.
Whoa, he's stuffing it in. Oh my God. Pagenaud way up high.
The 2 Penske drivers touch, and Joseph Newgarden goes back to the front to the inside of Simon Pagenaud.
And look at Dixon. Dixon's going to take over 2nd now.
What a swing potentially in the championship. Pagenaud in front has dropped to 3rd. Dixon is now in 2nd behind Newgarden.
I talked about it before the race. There's been a lot of strategic Penske driving. When are the gloves going to come off? It's happening tonight. This is fight night.
Apropos, fight night at Gateway, and Joseph Newgarden has carved his way back to the front. Let's see this again between the 2 Penske teammates.
He left him virtually no room, and he just said, I'm coming through. Gave him a hip check. He's lucky he didn't crash. And then Dixon seizes the opportunity and moves into 2nd place. Townsend, you said it was going to be a 1 through 4 Penske domination.
Well, let's see what happens. But right there, it's 1 Penske dominating on a move like that. Joseph Newgarden is just signaling to not only his teammates, but the rest of the field, this is my championship. Forget about it. I'm grabbing the bull by the horns.
And that would be a swing, I think, of about 13 points from that move. I think I saw he would have been 18 points in front as they run. Right now, he would be 31 in front of Scott Dixon. Within Castroneves, 42 back, and Pagenaud back to 43 behind.
Simon left virtually no room, but there was enough room for him to really push that car down the inside, and he said, I'm taking it. But look at Pagenaud's coming back. Oh, which way are you going to go? Left, right, left, right.
Pagenaud, I think, now realizes, whoa, that was a move I wasn't expecting from my teammate. I'm sure as Pagenaud blocked up the inside, he was looking in his mirror thinking, he's not going to go for it. There's no way he's going to go for it.
Connor Daly's still right there on the back of the Penske, so great night for him.
Now, what can Pagenaud and Castroneves do? We think they're a little bit quicker than Scott Dixon. They've shown it all weekend, but it's a whole different thing getting by.
Well, we've shown now you're not going to go around the outside of turn one unless you've really got a huge head of steam like Newgarden had on the initial start with power. So you've really got to hope the door is open and really just stuff it down the inside in turn one if you're going to make a pass.
There's Newgarden, the lead. A bit of a gap on Scott Dixon in second. The yellow car is Simon Pagenaud in third, trying to get back to the front after Newgarden just took the lead. There's Castroneves in the golden white car in fourth, and Connor Daly is still within range. Alexander Rossi is back in sixth.
Newgarden hanging on to a 1 second lead over Dixon. The fight right here, first through 8th place, is all right here in front of us.
And Paul, you and I have talked all season about the fact that Scott Dixon is sort of out on his own, and the only way that he's going to get any help is if the Penske drivers end up battling too hard, and we've started to see that here in the closeout of this season and this championship. And if Dixon can come out of here in second, it is on all the way to the end of the season.
And remember, we go to Watkins Glen next week where he's won 4 times. In second right now. This is big in the championship, not only for Simon Pagenaud, but also for Team Penske. If Pagenaud can get around Dixon 4 seconds.
Pagenaud working very hard through 3 and 4, trying to figure out how can I find some clean air to make a move. It has to start right here. He's got to be able to stay close through turn 1 so he can draft up. See there, Dixon pulls out an advantage. Pagenaud has to lift out of it, and then he gathers it back up, but it's not enough of a gap close to make the position work.
There's our Chevy driver update. First, third, fourth, fifth. The lone Honda in the top 5 is Dixon running in second. Robin?
You know what? Roger Penske lets his guys race, and I don't know what the booth thinks, but I just think that's the coolest thing there is. Yep. No team orders, and you just saw it right there. How can you see anything that's better racing than what you just saw going into 1?
Well, I'll tell you what, when we met with Roger earlier today, the 3 of us, he had to bring up the fact that I drop-kicked Al Jr. at Detroit in '94 for the win. He goes, yeah, I let my guys race and win, but I remember when Tracy drop-kicked Al Jr., and that wasn't very cool.
You know what I found funny was he doesn't remember you winning the race for him here at Gateway. He remembers that moment, so I think that says it all.
Otherwise, he said, though, you were an exemplary employee. Had no other issues. He did have nice things to say about you. But we did talk about teammates racing. He said, you know, really our philosophy is, obviously we know we don't want you taking out your teammate, but race clean, maybe a little more conservative throughout the season. But all bets are off by the time you get to the finale. If you want to go after it like he's not your teammate, that's a little more welcomed in the finale, or at least accepted.
As long as you're not putting the championship at risk for one of the 4.
Yeah. Yep. And I think when the race is over, I don't think Pagenaud will have anything to complain about on that move. He left the door open. It was slightly cracked open, and Newgarden just kicked it open the rest of the way.
Connor Daly's doing a heck of a job. Look at how close he's able to follow Castroneves. I'm wondering if Connor Daly is thinking, I'm in a good spot, a top 5 on an oval.
He's got a run right here.
And I'm wondering if he's thinking, Paul, do I just solid finish, or is he pushing 10 tenths and saying, I've got a chance to get to the front here?
No, Townsend, he is not saving anything at all. He wants this position. He wants to show what he can do, and also he wants to fight for his future here in the Verizon IndyCar Series. He's wanting to show that I can fight it out with these guys at the front, and he's so happy with the car right now. Feels like the last couple of changes they've made on pit stops have been absolutely perfect. He's loving it, guys.
Got another run. He's going to pop out here. Castroneves defends, so he's definitely got a better car than the guy who was leading the race comfortably. Castroneves at a 4-second lead at one point, and now he's got Daly breathing all over his neck. He's popping out again.
So many have their future uncertain. It's very possible Connor Daly might be back with A.J. Foyt, and maybe they already know they're going to welcome him back. But when you don't know for certain, you want to make people stand up and take notice. And if you can pass the great Helio Castroneves on track, people will notice.
I gotta wonder if the race control's got to start looking at those pop-outs by Castroneves. I saw Daly go to make a move, and then Castroneves reacted to it.
That is for fourth right now. Castroneves running at fourth. Daly in fifth. Up front, it's still Newgard by 1.1 seconds. The gap has stayed pretty consistent on Scott Dixon, and then another 3/10 or so back to Pagenaud.
Castroneves defending against Daly lap after lap now, so Daly's just got to figure out what his move is and try to snooker him, get a big run as he comes around here in 3 and 4. He's got another run going, and just time it right.
You know, Alexander Rossi was a little closer a few laps ago, but Castroneves and Daly have gapped Rossi there in the red and blue car just a little bit. And there's the lead group. Pagenaud in third. There's Castroneves, not far behind. Sebastian Bourdais, by the way, is in the top 10.
Wow, that's a solid night for Sebastian. He was hovering around 10th, 11th, 12th. So if he can continue to hang on here till the end of the race, 12 laps to go now. We're coming up on 10 to go. And that would be a good night for him.
He'll be exhausted at the end of this thing. This new surface, tons of grip, very, very high G-load. To come straight out of the rehab and back onto the racetrack at a place like this will be really taxing on the body.
Graham Rahal had the penalty, had to restart in the back at 14th. He's made a couple of spots up, back to 12th.
Dixon not losing ground at all, still at 9/10 of a second behind, and he seems to have stabilized now on Pagenaud. Pagenaud was kind of breathing down his neck a little bit, trying to make a move, and he's kind of put a little gap on him.
Townsend, would you have predicted that Dixon could have finished second?
Not with two Penske's right behind him. Pagenaud and Castroneves both have led this race, and when they led, they were fast and pulling away from the field. So I think what's really surprising is to see that Pagenaud and Castroneves aren't really able to challenge here in the closing laps on Dixon.
So it's maybe a split win for us, Paul, talking about maybe there was someone that had a chance. As of now, though, it's still a Penske that's going to get to victory lane. We're inside 10 laps to go, but you never know. Not done yet.
Well, we know that these guys in the Penske camp are all fighting each other for the championship, but we've always been talking, Townsend, all year about the harmony in the Ganassi group and how they work for this man right here, Scott Dixon. And right now, there seems to be dissension in the ranks within that team. So there's some guys in the last couple weeks, Tony Kanaan leaving out of here with hard feelings.
I mean, tonight, Scott Dixon's had no help. Whether there was dissension or not, his three teammates just never factored. Two of them crashed. Kimball's running in 7th, but hasn't really been able to get up front and mix it up and help Scott Dixon in any way. So once again, Scott Dixon's put this championship entirely on his back on the team to try to make something happen. As Castroneves there, a little bit of a bobble. This could give Connor Daly his best chance. If Connor can stay close through 3 and 4, this is where he's been able to make a run.
He's got another good run going here. So Castroneves has been on the defensive every lap. As you see, does the Pruitt fade down into the middle of the straight and then fades back up in front. So he's been on the defensive with Daly since the drop of the green flag from the yellow.
What did Scott Pruitt ever do to you?
I never raced with him much. I was always in front of him, but I heard he was tough to pass.
Oh, man. Hi to the family at home, man. That's tough. I like Scott Pruitt.
Oh, I got a race against Scott Pruitt in a few weeks at Road Atlanta. I better watch my tongue.
All right, let's get back at it. Down to 5 to go. And what about the oval prowess for Team Penske this season? We feature that in the pre-race outside of the Indianapolis 500, which Helio Castroneves came so close to winning. They've won every other oval race, and now all 4 of their drivers have won an oval race if it holds this way in 2017. Joseph Newgarden is the man right now This would also be the 5th straight win for Team Penske this season.
Newgarden said he wanted to get an oval win for this team. That was on the bucket list, winning on the road courses, winning at the tracks he's won before, but he wanted to get an oval win for the team this year, and it looks like he's going to get that tonight.
This looks to me like the gap is closing just a little bit. Dixon and Pagenaud. Pagenaud, the last few laps, is just ever so slightly inched up. If he can stay close here through turn 1, he might have a shot. He gets, he wiggles there in the middle of 1 and 2. You see Pagenaud trying to do everything he can and just loosens up the car a bit on the white line.
Castroneves is now closed back up to Pagenaud. Daly is backed off a little bit, maybe looking at trying to get a last lap run at him.
Pagenaud has to be careful. If he tries too hard on Dixon and makes too much of a bobble in dirty air, then Castroneves will be all over him.
Well, then, and also if he tries to get down the inside of him and gets the door shut on him, he could lose these 2 positions that are behind him. If he gets checked up in the middle of the corner.
Coming towards the white flag. 1 lap to go for Joseph Newgarden. Dixon is not within range, but looks like he might be able to hold on to second. Pagenaud is several car lengths back. Castroneves in 4th position, and Daly looking for his best career result on an oval. Joseph Newgarden is going to win for the 4th time in 2017. The next American superstar takes control of the championship.
Awesome, man. Awesome drive. That was our win.
4 for Newgarden this year, the most anyone has. Power with 3.
Beautiful, man. Great job.
And remember at Mid-Ohio, the move he made on Will Power, this is another one that we're going to mark down and keep in our memory bank.
He was not going to be denied. Willing to go absolutely toe-to-toe. And he just forced his way through. Brilliant stuff.
As the fireworks go off here at Gateway, Katie Hargett is down with the boss man, Tim Cindric.
4 wins for the new guy at Team Penske. Tim, what has the addition of Joseph Newgarden meant to your team?
Well, I mean, you can see he's hungry, and he's come here and he's done everything that we've asked him to do. And he has tight racing there. You know, one of those guys, you just hope one of them wins. But, yeah, that was exciting.
No team orders for Team Penske. What do you think about the wheel banging between him and Simon Pagenaud?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
What do you think? No team orders from Team Penske. What do you think about him banging wheels with Simon?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously it was close racing and all that, and I'm glad both of them made it through that corner. But I'm sure those guys will sort it out one way or the other. But, yeah, without a doubt, Joseph's he's done his job for sure. You know, we let him down in the pits there a little bit, and he recovered for us. So, yeah, he wasn't going to be denied tonight. So, great job by our team.
We'll talk to the man in just a little bit, Kevin.
And we are happy that Tim Cindric and Roger Penske let their drivers go at it. Joseph Newgarden isn't going to climb the fence, but he will hop on top of the wall and celebrate Team Penske's 5th straight win. The last time that happened for a team in IndyCar racing, Newman Haas in 2005 in Kart Champ Car. What a night for Joseph Newgarden. We'll talk to him coming up in just a moment. You're watching NBCSN's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Honda, an official vehicle of the Verizon IndyCar Series, and by Fifth Third Bank, proud sponsor of Graham Rahal. This is banking a Fifth Third better. The fireworks continue here just off the banks of the Mississippi in St. Louis. Joseph Newgarden wins, and Katie Hargett is right there.
And it was fight night here at Gateway Motorsports Park for Joseph Newgarden. And Joseph, not just against the rest of the field, but more specifically, your teammates.
Yeah, it's probably appropriate with everything that's going on tonight, you know, with the McGregor and Mayweather fight. But it was an awesome race. You know, I'm so proud of the whole #2 crew. I'm proud of Team Penske. I mean, they build the best race cars on the planet, and so it's a pleasure to be a part of the group and win again in the PPG car. You know, the first time we had them on, we won at Mid-Ohio, and it seems like we got a little bit more mojo again here with having them. So I hope they enjoyed it. I hope the fans enjoyed it. We had an awesome race. I felt like it was. You know, it was a lot about strategy and fuel saving, and then a good battle with Simon at the end. So, you know, that's what we had tonight.
You are now the only 4-time winner in the Verizon IndyCar Series for 2017. What kind of statement does this make to the rest of the field?
Well, it just helps on points. You know, we got to be aggressive and try and win these races. I think that's what's going to win us the championship. You know, with Simon there, I wanted to get inside of him. He gave me the lane, so I took it. You know, it's one thing if he was going to close it off, but he gave me a lane to work with, and you know, I just tried to thread the gap at that point, and he gave me racing room, and you know, I didn't mean to touch him and push him out a little bit, but I'm happy he obviously didn't get into the wall and still finished on the the top 4 there. So that's racing. You know, we gotta go racing at the end of the day.
Yeah, and this 2 crew is going to be hard to catch for the rest of the season.
Well, he's calling it just racing, but I know that's not how you feel. I could see by the body English. Not happy with that move by Newgarden.
Great question, Jan. And listen, that was a fantastic race for Team Penske. We had fantastic cars. Sorry about Will at the beginning of the race. It was a real shame. The move, you know, I don't know what to say. I don't have anything nice to say, so I'm not going to say it. But yeah, fantastic job from the #1 team, Menards and Chevy, for such a dominant performance. But yeah, it's disappointing.
Joseph said that he felt like there was room, that there was somewhat of a door open. Your opinion?
There was room with me. Anybody else, he would be in the fence right now.
All right. A very frustrated Simon Pagenaud. Obviously, on fight night, not every fighter has the same opinion.
Wow. Well, that's a new development for Team Penske. Newgarden finishes first, Pagenaud in third, Dixon comes home in second. Don't forget, after we're done in just a few minutes, it's live Rocket League here on NBCSN. But we've got more to come from Gateway in St. Louis.
Welcome back to the post-race show of the Bommarito 500. How in the hell did you finish second?
I don't know. It's pretty good, though. I guess that's the best we could have hoped for. You know, it was definitely going to be a tough race for us, but the car was actually very good. I think we had a better mechanical grip than the group that we're racing with the Penskes, and especially towards the end of the run, we could actually sort of come back towards them. But we had so much drag. We could get to them, but we couldn't pass them. We couldn't pull out and pass, and definitely pretty hard to defend right there at the end with Simon. It was pretty exciting to watch Joseph and Simon with that pass into turn 1, which was pretty interesting, pretty tight. I was hoping it went a little bit different than what it actually did and could have picked up 2 spots, but huge credit to everybody in the NTT Data #9 car. Strong run tonight, strong pit stops, and how about the fans, man? This was awesome to come back to St. Louis and see the fans and how excited they were for this race.
31 down with 2 races to go. Can you pull it off?
Of course we can pull it off. Double points at the end. 2 tracks that we're typically, strong at. We can't rely on being strong there, but that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to run strong at the next one at Watkins Glen and hopefully have a fun race at Sonoma and maybe snatch it away. That would be nice.
Hell of a job. Anders?
And it's a naturally deflated Helio Castroneves. Helio, you were running away with that race, and then the stall in the pits. Is that what cost you the win today?
Certainly didn't help. First of all, great job, Joseph, and obviously Shelfie, our boys, they did a phenomenal job. My team did an incredible job. Put me in the lead, and obviously when I came in, I pressed the neutral button. Unfortunately, it didn't come in, and as soon as I released the clutch, it was still in first, and that stalled it. So I tried to call the attention as fast as I could, and they did a great job putting me back, but obviously it was a costly mistake. The car was so phenomenal, and then unfortunately with the dirty air, it's very difficult to pass. Everybody was very tense, hundreds of seconds between difference from each other. So we tried to come back, but after burning so much fuel, probably the other guys short fuel and they end up going in front of us. But super disappointed, especially on the stage at this championship. It's not even a small mistake, it's actually a huge mistake, so I'm so disappointed. But at least one of the team ended up taking home the championship, and but I just, again, great job for the entire Shell Fuel Reward card. Car was spectacular. So let's go for new Watkins Glen. Again, great race. Hopefully the fans had a great time here, and let's move on.
Helio third in the championship, 42 points out of the lead.
Yeah, the only thing he's not done is win a championship. He falls from 18 back to 42 back in third. There's still more to come. Simon Pagenaud not real happy, but Joseph Newgarden is. Big crowd for the return of IndyCar tonight in St. Louis for the Bommarito Automotive Group 500. Joseph Newgarden with a late pass on his teammate Simon Pagenaud wins the race.
I'll tell you what, the kumbaya vibe at the money team, Team Penske, that's worn off. This is going to be a real battle between the teammates. No love lost, I think, going in the final 2 rounds. As you look at the results, Castroneves really disappointed. Alexander Rossi did a good job to hang on there.
The frustration also in the Ganassi team is escalated. Tony Kanaan pulled off the track, wouldn't do an interview. His team owner wouldn't give an interview. So these top teams have got dissension in the ranks.
Well, one of the great stories tonight, a top 5 finish for Connor Daly, best ever on an oval, and he's with Katie.
And best for all of Foyt Racing this season. Connor, what did both you and Carlos Munoz do different this week?
Just use the high line, like Thomas Schechter would. No, I mean, we had a good car all weekend. I mean, I was really upset with myself after qualifying. You know, just got a big moment at the apex of 1, but we redeemed ourselves. And then I tried to screw it up for myself again in the pits, but we were able to drive back. So the car was just fantastic. Have to thank the team, have to thank ABC Supply for sticking with us. I mean, I know it's been a tough year, but I know we can do it. I know this group can do it. We're just improving, and it takes time. This is a hard sport.
Now I got to ask you, you had some pretty hard battles with Helio Castroneves, but more notably with Charlie Kimball. What happened there?
Well, I mean, you know, I won't say anything bad about him, but it was just sort of one of those really late moves that, you know, on an oval, it's just not great to do. I mean, everyone's racing hard. It's obviously tough on a short oval to make ground. But yeah, I mean, that could have ruined my race right there. You know, I thought the wing was gone into the next corner, but it was still there. So thank you, Chevy, for making strong pieces. But yeah, I mean, in the end, I'm just happy to be here and just hope I can be here for many more races.
Kevin, this could be a positive start for Connor. We're headed to Watkins Glen, where he finished 4th.
No doubt, and the championship remains in play with 2 to go. And keep in mind, double points when we go to Sonoma. It will pay 100 to win at Sonoma.
Paul, you were almost right. Scott Dixon had a chance there at the end, defied the odds to be a factor in this and do absolute damage control and come out of here only 31 points back.
Pagenaud and Castroneves, big disappointment in their voices, and Will Power obviously leaving here very frustrated. He might be out of it now.
A really enjoyable return to the St. Louis area. Kudos to the track here at Gateway Motorsports Park and the Bommarito Auto Group as well for getting things done and making it happen. Coming up next, it's live Universal Open Rocket League. Be sure to join us next Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern for the IndyCar Grand Prix at the Glen. For Paul Tracy, Townsend Bell, Katie Hargett, Jan Beekes, Anders Krohn, and Robin Miller, I'm Kevin Lee. Congratulations to championship leader Joseph Newgarden, who wins at Gateway.